G'day guys, how are we? Welcome to Talking Boxing. It is Monday, November 28th, 2022. And as always, it's been a massive week in boxing, headlined by or highlighted by the revelations this week. The Nadal Hussein controversy with referee Carlos Padilla. We're going to have Nadal Skinny Hussein as a special guest tonight to talk about it. If you don't know about it, what actually has happened is that Carlos Padilla has come out this week, or I think it was, or it's been released this week on YouTube, that he knowingly cheated Nadal Skinny Hussein out of a knockout victory over the great Manny Pacquiao. So it's caused all sorts of dramas this week. And as I said, we're going to have Nadal Skinny Hussein on at about 8:15. So apologies to all you people out there that have just logged on just to see Skinny. He'll be on at about 8:15. And we're going to have Grant Tszyu Brown on as well. He's great mates with Skinny. So Taszyu wanted to come on as well. So all three of us are going to be on. So that'll be really interesting viewing to hear his point of view. And I'm really looking forward to asking him what his initial feelings were. How would you go? You fought Manny Pacquiao. This is not just any fighter. This is Manny Pacquiao, one of the greatest fighters of all time. We all know what he went on to do after this. This fight was in 2000. What he went on to do, multiple world championships. There's too many to count. All those massive fights that he had. What could have been what might have happened if Skinny Hussein had scored the knockout that he should have earned. It was a 17-second count. I think he was on the canvas. Again, we'll go over all this with Skinny, of course. I'm just sort of jumping ahead. 12 to 13 seconds on the mat. Then he gets up and he has to ask him if he's okay about 3 or 4 times. And then he's hanging on like you wouldn't believe. And then he gets a point deducted, all these little things. And there's a controversy with the referee that comes in, the doctor. The referee takes him about his cut. That was sort of serious, but I don't think it was serious enough to actually stop the fight. And he admits to encouraging the doctor to stop the fight. Now, in all this day and age, we've had it a couple of weeks ago with Jeff Fennick and Azuma Nelson and all this other stuff going on. What is going to happen here? I'm really intrigued to see what the WBC do here, because it was for a regional title or interim title or something like that. What happens? The referee, and this is not just any referee we're talking about, by the way. Carlos Padilla is one of the, I won't say the best referees of all time. That'd be overstating it here, especially in this situation, but has refereed all the greats, some of the biggest fights of all time. Carlos Padilla has refereed the fight. This isn't just some Filipino referee that was there that was just chucked in. This is a hard-hitting referee from yesteryear. So, as I said, really intrigued to hear what Skinny has to say, and I'm really rapt he's decided to come on. No doubt he's been hit up by everyone this week, but it's good that he's going to come on for a bit of a chat, because it needs to be brought to light. It's one thing to sort of highlight it or share it on social media or comment on it, whatever. Let's see what he has to say when we interview him in about 45 minutes. So let's see what happens. A couple of comments already. Eric from D-Style, starting my shift at work. We'll check it out later. All good, mate. And if you haven't checked out D-Style Boxing's YouTube page, make sure you subscribe. Some really good content on there. I was lucky enough to be on there a few weeks back, and it was great to meet the boys and girls and talk some boxing. Very similar to our show with a more of an American flavour, so make sure you check that out. What's that? What a good brother. Are we listening in? I'm assuming that's how are you? All good? All good, Eric. James Gorman, keen to have Hussey on. Looking forward to the show. And thanks, James. Great to have you along. And the way this show works, if you haven't been on here before, this is your show. I'm just, I've got my rundown sheet to go through with stuff I want to talk about, but this show's for you. It's all interactive. If you've got a comment, a question, whatever it might be, a remark, whatever it's on your mind, put it in the comment section, and let's talk some boxing. I'm actually going to put in the link at the moment. Where is it? I'll copy the link. Now I'm going to put the link in. If you do want to come on, feel free to come on for a chat. We have the ability to bring you guys on. So the link is there. So click on it if you want to come on. And before, obviously, Skinny and Taszyu come on. I did call Skinny Hussey at the Hall of Fame induction, and I don't know why I did that, because I know Hussey really well. But Skinny is a great guy, and as I said, I'm really intrigued to see what his thoughts are, if there's what his team are going to do. Look, I'll be honest with you, I hope I'm wrong. There's probably nothing that can be done about it now, unless the WBC, as they've done a couple of weeks ago with the controversy, they've overturned, well, in their minds, overturned the result. Will there be some sort of compensation for Nadal Skinny Hussein? Because this is not just any fight, as I said. This is Manny Pacquiao, who went on the fight. Floyd Mayweather, Oscar De La Hoya, Miguel Cotto, Marquez, Morales, Barrera. He fought all of them. Mosley, you name it. You name them, he fought them. And he made hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars out of the fight game. So anyway, we'll see what he has to say. On to some other news, guys. Now, we did touch on this on the last Thursday show, the live show with myself and Tszyu, the No Limit pay-per-view. So I'll quickly have a bit of a rundown from that. I won't go over too much. We obviously covered it last week. But if you guys got anything else you'd like to say about it, we're going to cover, this is our last show for the year, by the way, guys. As far as talking boxing goes, we are going to do a sort of combination talking boxing / deep dive show. I'm going to try and get all the boys on. Taszyu, Peter Maniatis, Nick Noonan, maybe even Mike Altamura. Get them on there for a bit of a Christmas special to review the year and a few predictions on 2023. And, of course, to answer any questions that you may have. So thanks again for joining in. And as I said, make sure you put a comment or a question in there, or, as I said, click the link and come on. So the other shows coming up, the Ace Boxing Show, December 3rd. We've got the Big Time Boxing event in Melbourne on December 9. We've, of course, got Ebony Bridges, Shannon O'Connell, December 10th. So we'll talk about that. Lucas Brown versus Manuel Char, Dubai, December 17th. We'll go over the box rec schedule for the Aussies. And then with the world stuff, we've got the weekend result with progress with the knockout over Jose Zepeda. We've got Dillian White over Jermaine Franklin, John Ryder over Zach Parker. We've got the upcoming fights with Estrada Gonzalez and a few other fights that maybe look like they could be happening in 2003. So always great to have you along, guys. So let's start with the No Limit show from last Wednesday. Really interesting to hear your thoughts. As I said, we did go over this last Thursday with Taszyu. What do you guys think about it? I've had a little bit of more of a think, because last week's show was the day after it, so I was a little bit quick to or a bit hurried to get things organised. But a bit of reflection. I know Michael Zerafa's copped it from all quarters. He has bitten back. I'm not sure whether you guys have seen this on social media. He did bite back at about the port. No, it was about Jeff Fenech, and that's what really struck me, because Jeff Fenech's actually been a fan of Zerafa over the journey. He did when he fought Jeff Horn. Jeff Fenech was one of the first ones that said Michael Zerafa can beat this guy. And this is when Jeff Horn, I know he'd come off the Crawford loss, but he'd have the win over Anthony Mundine, so he was back. And Jeff Fenech watched him spar and said, this guy will beat Jeff Horn, or can beat Jeff Horn. So he sort of wrapped him up a bit. On the night, if you listen to Jeff's comments, I don't think he was really having a go at Michael, or maybe he was, but I don't think he was. I think he was just being honest. He said, look, this is not an exciting fight. Michael's not doing his brand any good here. But Michael really took it to heart. Accused Jeff of ruining young fighters' careers. I'm assuming he's referring to Brock Jarvis, especially. Of course, he was stopped by Liam Paro a few weeks back. I think a little bit harsh from Michael. I think you got to be I won't say a brave person, but you've got to have a bit of front about you to bite back at the opinion of Jeff Fenech. This is a guy that, 3 times should have been 4-time world champion. He's an expert commentator. I think if I was Michael's team, I would say, mate, don't bite back at this sort of stuff. Don't reply. Just get on with it. Stay off social media. Because I just think at the moment he's just getting a bit too caught up in the whole thing. You can tell he's affected by it, as far as his the way he speaks in the media, the way he speaks on social media, of course. And I just think my advice to Mike would be just the social media thing. Let's just stay off it for a while. And let's try and build the image up. And I just don't think he sort of did himself any favours by coming back at Jeff Fenech the way they did. Because Jeff Fenech's a little bit like a Tim Tszyu or a Costa Tszyu. I think they're pretty much untouchables. You can't get into an argument with those guys, because you're just not going to win. Those guys are so popular and so revered that you just can't win. So, I just don't think Michael, again, in a time where he's trying to build up his image, and you can see he's trying to do that, with the videos. I know I've spoken about the last couple of shows that No Limit have obviously tried to revamp or up his image. I don't think it worked with the video that he did. I've said that a couple of times. And I think just to lay low and just say nothing for a little bit. And if you are going to say something, just something positive. Don't come back at people that are having a crack on you at social media. It just gives them more ammunition. I know George Kambosos has done it lately, but George Kambosos has got a lot of runs on the board. And I think his was a little bit different. It was clapping back at someone making a comment rather than someone like Jeff Fenech. So just my opinion, but be really interesting. I've just got a comment there from Zigma. I really like a legend like Jeff Fenech doing colour commentary, tells it like it is and does a fine job. Well, that's what he's paid to do, Zigma. That's exactly what he's paid to do, and he does it. So, and look, and that's what I probably like about Paul Gallen. Paul Gallen's had some good commentary. He's had some bad commentary. He just takes it in his stride and says, look, I'm just a prize fighter. This is what I do. I don't care. Have your opinion. I'm only going to worry about the opinions that count. And they're the people that are around me. People are always going to, you're always going to have your haters and your fans. So, and Jeff Fenech, as I said, he's untouchable when it comes to this sort of stuff. And the comment about the stolen watches, I mean, we're talking decades ago that happened. Just don't think he did himself any favours, did Michael Zerafa. But having said that, look, really hope he gets his shot in March or April. He's earned it. I would definitely put that that fight behind him. I think it was one of those fights where you just win it, as they say, and look good next time. Forget about it, move on. He's got the Hardman credits up his sleeve, I would think, so run with that. And it was just a bad night. And as I said on Thursday night, it was really hard because Creati did not want to engage. Yes, look, I don't say he ran, but he didn't engage. He held, he jabbed, he clinched, whatever. He did everything but fight. And would have been a really, really hard night for Michael Zerafa. So I think we give him a pass on this one. I've got no doubt if he fights one of those big names for a world title, we'll see a totally different Michael Zerafa. Will that be Triple G? I'm starting to doubt it because as Paul Kent said very well on the night, I just don't think Triple G can sell that fight. One, can they raise the money in Australia? And two, if it's overseas, can he sell that fight? Because that's the one they're going to roll out. Andy is here. How are you, mate? Hello, fans. Yep, appreciate you being on, mate. Like and subscribe, of course, as always. James, what do you got there, mate? Like you said, the last few weeks, Zerafa at first wanted to be the villain, but then realised the backlash he's getting and is regretting it now. And that was a surprising thing, James, because you did get the impression that he enjoyed being the villain, against Jeff Horn, and even to a certain extent in the lead up to Tszyu. Well, he did enjoy that with the whole Mickey Hatton comments and all that sort of stuff. So I think he enjoyed it. But then when it started to get a little bit nasty, where they was targeting him relentlessly, I think it sort of changed. And look, I've said a few times, I think he's had enough. I think he's paid his penance. But then after the fight, and he comes out with the comments and really starts to rile up the support base of Tszyu. As I said last week, he's in Sydney on his home turf. They're all probably Tszyu fans, all probably hoping that Zerafa got knocked out, and then to come up with that, when Tszyu gets knocked out and haters will hate, all that sort of stuff. I just, again, didn't do himself any favours. Michael, just let it go and talk it up, be positive, and hopefully the wheel will turn, because you've got to remember, these people are going to be the ones that are going to be paying for the fight if it happens to be in Australia, or even pay-per-views. Will people buy the fight simply because they want to see him get knocked out? Who knows? But, I think it's time, just that villain thing. Let's just put it aside and try and get people back on side. Zerafa, Creati mismatch. Gallen Hodges clinches galore by Hodges. Thank God for the Australian welterweight title. Yeah, spot on, James. Look, it's just a shame that the two main fights of the night were both disappointing. I don't blame Zerafa, and I sort of blame Zerafa to some extent. I'll get to that in a sec. I don't blame Gallen at all. He tried his hardest to push the fight. He really tried to rough Hodges up. He tried with that one arm free. He tried to hit. Hodges just didn't want to let him go. And James, it took 15 or 20 seconds each time to separate them in 2.5 minute rounds. A lot of the fight was just in clinches and holds and warnings and you name it. Whinging from Hodges to the referee and the crowd, his corner, whoever had listened. So it wasn't a good fight. But as I said, I sort of don't blame Zerafa, but I do, because I said it again last week. After the 3rd, 4th, 5th round, his corner should have said, "Wake up, Michael. This is technically the biggest fight of your life, because this fight could set you up for whatever's going to happen. The next fight is going to be for the world title, hopefully. You need to impress. You need to get going. You need to put it on this guy. Now, if the other guy wants to hold and wrestle and clinch and not fight, there's not much you can do about it, but at least try and put it on him. Michael just seemed to just go through the motions, a jab here, a right hand there. Just was a very, 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 very lackluster performance by Michael. But as I said before, I've got no doubt if he does fight one of those big guys for the title, you will see 100% or 180 degree different Michael Zerafa. I have no doubt about that. Jay, welcome to the show, mate. No doubt Zerafa needed to make a statement and didn't, but Creati has been acting like he won. Is that right? I haven't seen much of him on the social media. He was a very awkward fighter who wouldn't engage, as I said. I don't know why. Look, even after the fight, he's walking around like he'd won the fight. Mate, you didn't win. You barely won a round. I might have gave him 1 or 2 rounds, but it was only because you maybe landed a punch here or there. But you could easily made a case for almost a shutout. Michael, this is the thing I think everyone's forgetting. As disappointing a performance as it was, Michael won in a shutout. And for Creati to be pretending that he won, that's purely an ego thing or whatever he wants to do. Yeah, he probably got a few people in the crowd that, cheered him just because it was Michael Zerafa. But Creati, look, I don't know. I struggle to see how he gets another half decent fight, Creati, because 1, he's awkward and is a spoiler. But 2, he's not an entertainer. So if he had to perform well against Zerafa, then maybe some doors would open. But why, if you're an up-and-comer, why would you fight Creati if he's just going to do that? You got nothing to gain. Yep, villain there. What do we got there? So the boys, yep, hey Andy, hey James, yep, all good to have you on board, guys. So again, if you've got a question or comment, put it in there and we'll keep moving on. You're right, I can't remember who it might have been. James said before. Yes, you're right, 100% right, actually, that the fight or the card was saved by the welterweight Australian title fight with Ty Telford and Joel Taylor. What a fight that was. And I said last week on the show, I'm sure you guys have watched it anyway, that how impressed I was with Joel Taylor, with the composure that he had. Even he threw some great shots. He wore a lot of good shots. And Ty Telford's one of those guys, he gets you hurt, he gets you out of there. And he's so tough. He can punch. He's got a high work rate. He stands in front of you, so there's no resting. He just comes after you. And it's either you're going to knock him out or he's going to knock you out. And that's just the way he fights. And for Joel Taylor to not only stand up to that, but really get the better of those exchanges. I won't go so far as what Tszyu said. He said that Ty Telford quit. I'm not going to put that on him because technically he retired on his stool. Ty Telford's got a lot of credits in the bank when it comes to being a tough fighter. So I'm not going to put that on him. He's the type of fighter that if he retires on the stool, there's got to be a good reason. There's got to be some simple reason. And I know actually Shane Sermon, I'm not sure Shane's watching so far tonight, said he did actually escape the detached retina, so that's great news. And he'll be out of action for probably a few months, and he'll be back. So that is the good news. But when you got blurred vision, I'm sure that if he could, he would have continued. He's not the type of fighter that just says, I've had enough. And it was a close fight. I probably had Joel Taylor winning 4 rounds to 2. I think it was the 6th round, wasn't it? 4 rounds to 2, but a couple of those rounds were close. So one either way would have been even. So, and great fights ahead for Joel Taylor. He's got some really good fights out there for him. And it remains to be seen whether he's, international level. Maybe he might get a regional title fight. But, I think one of you guys commented the other night how excited he was to win the Aussie title, and I was rapt. The Aussie title should mean a hell of a lot more than what it does. It's almost an inconvenience for some of these guys. It's not like they get it and just turf it and they're on the regional belt. I would much prefer to have the Aussie belt around my waist than one of those cheap, made-up regional titles. And I said the other night, after dealing with these sanctioning bodies, if there's not a title there, they'll invent one for you. They'll just invent one for the night. One stage, there was East-West titles and up-and-down titles and interim silver, gold, bronze titles. I don't know, but they'll always invent one for you because it's all about the money. An extra $500 here, $1,000 there, whatever it is. They want your money, and that's what happens. So, Jay Brown. No Limit have Creati on their fighters list, so they must be promoting him. Geez, that's surprising they'd sign him up. Because it's not like he's going to bring bum to seats, is it? And it's not like he's going to bring a big crowd. You wouldn't have thought either, because being an Italian guy. So I'm not sure why they would sign him up. Maybe it was a 2 or 3 fight deal. Maybe that was one of the conditions that he fought Zerafa. They signed him up for 3 fights. Well, that has some merit, but we'll see what happens. How long is Zerafa with no limit? All right, James. I've heard it is for starters a 3-fight deal. This is only by people in the know telling me, so I'm not 100%. I'm probably about 95%. But apparently he has a 3-fight deal. This is obviously number 1. They want the world title fight because what they would hate, they want to be number 1. And look, they are number 1 in the country at the moment. But remember, Nedal, they were number 1. They've been put back. They want that number 1 spot back. You got Matchroom Boxing coming on board. There's no way Eddie Hearn's going to play second fiddle to No Limit. They need the best fighters in Australia stitched up. They really do. And I know they've got Liam Parra, but he's going to be more international now, fighting overseas, you'd probably think. Maybe if he wins the title, Eddie might bring him back to Australia. But Zerafa, they want him tied up. I think what they want to do is have the whole Tszyu thing worked out. We have spoken about it, of course, hedging the bets. So the 3-fight deal would make sense. They've had 1. Hopefully the world title will be number 2, and then the Tszyu thing will be number 3. And look, if you're Michael Zerafa, why wouldn't you sign with No Limit in Australia? If he wins the title, it might be a little bit different. You might have his 1 fight on them and then maybe go overseas. It's a middleweight belt. It's going to be a sought after belt, so we'll see what happens there. But it's everyone hedging the bets, and it's a good marriage, regardless of what happened with Zerafa and No Limit in the past. It's a good marriage. It's just business. Remember, it's nothing personal. And Zerafa is good business for No Limit, and No Limit is good business for Zerafa, and that's all that matters. And but as I said, not 100% confirmed, but I'm about 95%. That's the case. James Gorman, what do you think is next for Taylor? Because now he's number 1 welterweight in Australia because Andrew Hunt and Ben Kite retired. Yep, Brew Baker be a possible fight. Will go back to go up to 154. I think he might stay at 147. James, Brew Baker's not a bad option for him. Maybe Bo Belbin might be. I know Tassie's put him up to super welterweight. I might just have a look at the ratings while we're going there. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head who's what. We'll have a quick look at that. And again, they don't rate everyone, which is a little bit hard. Where are we? National. All right, so welterweight. I might actually bring it up while I'm having a look there, guys. There we go. I'll get that comment there. All right, so welterweight. So yeah, obviously Ty Telford. Not really anyone there that I can think of. Look, down the track could be Hassan Hamdan. He'd be a good one. Jason Marley, I know they've got him listed there as John Marley. I don't know what the hell's going on there. Jason Marley, all Victorian affair too. He's probably, he could fight for that now. Jason Marley, to me, and with all due respect to Ty Telford and Joel Taylor, Jason Marley is the number 1 welterweight in Australia, if you ask me, talent-wise. He is a very, very good fighter. And I think if he fought a Ty Telford or Joel Taylor or any of those guys you can see here, I think he wins. Again, just my opinion. Maybe, Ben Horn's an option, I suppose. But other than that, there's really not a lot coming up, is there? Will Brock Jarvis go up maybe? I doubt it. Darragh Foley, Kane Clark. Yeah. No, I can't. If he goes up to super welterweight, James, there's plenty of guys for him. But, there's not really a lot there for him at the moment, is there? Look, he's only a young kid as well. He's had, what he is at the moment, I don't know. He's had a few fights now, but he hasn't really had that experience. So I got no dramas with him fighting all these other guys. He maybe not a Camille Balla who's been inactive. Camille Balla's a very, very seasoned fighter who would be tough work for Joel. But there's a few others there he could potentially fight anyway. So that remains to be seen what happens. But that's sort of where I said. I think he'll just fight some of these other sort of more inexperienced types of guys and get maybe another 3 or 4 fights under his belt, and then who knows what can happen. The other fight on the card I was really impressed with, Cohen Mazudia. I really liked his performance against Wade Ryan. I did actually say on the night that I scored at a draw, and I'll stand by that. I had it 4 rounds each, but a lot of those rounds were close. So welcome, Minnesota. Mick, great to have you on board, mate. I'm glad to hear, Mick, because we've got Nadal Skinny Hussein on in about 20 minutes. He's going to talk about the refereeing admission from Carlos Padilla being cheated of a knockout of Manny Pacquiao 22 years ago. So I'm glad you've tuned in for that, and all the other guys out there that have tuned in as well. So as I said, about 8:15 he'll be on, And any questions you want to ask Skinny, make sure you put them in the comments when he comes on. But yeah, the fight, as I said, I had 4 rounds each for Mazudia and Wade Ryan, but I think it could have gone either way. Look, I think Mazudia, won. Worst case, it was a draw. I don't think Wade Ryan did enough to win. Now, the other thing is, where to now for Koa Mazudia? Is he international level? I think he's got some drawing power. I think there's some other good fights for him out there. Let's have a look at the super welterweight division, just to get off topic there. So I really like Victor Nagby. He's going to be tough work for anybody. Benny Mahoney, of course. Wade Ryan, Koa Mazudia. Kamakao, will he throw his hat back in the ring? Creati, no, not sure. And then Nikita Tszyu, Cameron Hammond, Tyson Best. I think Tyson's Best might be behind him. I think he's had a couple of bad knockouts in his career. I'm not quite sure whether he'll come back or whether he wants to come back or his team. Adrian Rodriguez, tough guy. Ankle shooter, really tough guy. So some really good guys there. Mason Smith, he had that disappointing loss to Nikita Tszyu, but I see he's fighting for the super middleweight title. Now, who's he fighting? He's on we'll go through it at the end of the night anyway with the box rec. Who's he fighting in for? Oh, he's fighting Lockie Higgins at super middleweight. So, but yeah, that super welterweight division, that is a really hot division at the moment. And look at those guys there. Any of those fights against each other, Nagby, Mahoney, Ryan, Mazudia, Camilleri, Tszyu, Rodriguez, Huda, they're probably the big guys in the division at the moment, if you ask me. So, my son messaging me there. Happy birthday to my son today. It's his 18th birthday too, by the way. All right, so what's that there? So Mazudia said he wants Ben Mahoney, and the fight has fallen through negotiations a few times. I would like him to fight Nagby. Yeah, that would be a good one, James. The Benny Mahoney thing's a really interesting one, because when you think about it, you've got all these super welterweights out there, or junior middleweights, whatever you want to call them, and Benny Mahoney fought that tie on the last show. What? And I did comment, I think, on last week's show. It wasn't a late replacement as far as I know. So what would his promoters be thinking? Is that all those guys he could fight? Is it about money? Is it about risk? I don't understand. I don't understand why he couldn't get a good fight. Look at that list there. So many really good fighters there. And he fought the tie, who'd been knocked out in the first round the 2 fights prior. So, Carl Hansen, how are you, mate? Sorry I'm late. Yep, you should be sorry you're late, Carl, because we've got plenty going on tonight, mate. You're actually about 15 to 20 minutes before Skinny Hussein comes on, mate. So get those questions ready. So anyway, so that's the super welterweights there. To answer your question before, James, I don't think there's a lot for the welterweights for Joel Taylor. Far as the big fights go, but plenty of other guys who can fight just to get a few more rounds under his belt, because he hasn't really fought that top opposition except for Ty Telford. But that division there, super welterweight, well, that is a hell of a division. Oh, mate, Big J, how are you, mate? Good to have you along. Again, Nadal Skinny Hussein on soon, boys. So that's the No Limit show. So on to, I'm going to bring up now this weekend's, well, we're going to go through the, where is it? Just get my light out the road there. The big show's coming up. So you can see there, Ace Boxing, December 3rd. Now that's this weekend. So I'm going to actually bring that up. We might do it while we're going, actually, guys. We can always go back to it later. All right, so there it is there. So you can see there, the big fights. We've got Jasmine Parr, Nicola Costello for the WIBA World Flyweight title, female title. So that should be a ripper. They did fight before. Jasmine Parr got the win. The Costellos look pretty good in the last couple of fights, so I think that's going to be a lot more even than what I thought. I still think Jasmine Parr will get the win, but that should be a really tough fight. I think a lot closer than last time. This fight here is what I'm looking at. There it is there. Beck Rawlings Rodriguez against Natasha Cureen. Now, both making their debut, but obviously if you're a combat sports fan, you know Beck Rawlings, her background, she's one tough woman. Well, actually, I could probably say in her words, one tough bitch. That's the way she talks. She is tough as nails. You got to be super tough to be in that bare knuckle stuff. I'm not sure I could do it. The way they come out all busted up and they love it. I think she can go a long way in boxing. I watched her a lot of the times you see MMA guys or girls, Muay Thai, whatever it might be, and you just see them. They might be good with the takedowns and the feet and everything else. Bec Rawlings actually looks like a really good technical boxer, and I think she will make light work of Natasha Kareen. I'm not really sure much about Natasha, but having seen Bec Rawlings fight a few times in various formats, I think she's made for boxing. I think there's some big fights out there in boxing, and if she sticks with it, I think she could be a major player in female boxing, not only in Australia, but in the world scene. It's just a matter of whether that's what she wants. A lot of the fighters like Bec tend to go between all different things. I love to dabble, might be boxing, MMA, kickboxing, whatever it might be, because I just love fighting. I would like her to see her settle into boxing, because as I said, I just think she could be a really, really good boxer, good Bec. So I'm looking forward to seeing her. Never met her, by the way, just watched her fight a few times. The other fights on the card, Ricky Silva and Vita Pamali fighting for the Australian cruiserweight title. You can see there, Silva 6-1, Pamali 5-0. That'll be a really good fight. I think Pamali, for my end, will win that one, but your guess is as good as mine. Luke Medini, 8-0. Good young kid against Sebastian Singh, 14-5-3. That'll be just a good step up for Luke. You expect him to win that fight quite comfortably, but I think Singh will give him some good rounds and make him work for it as well. A couple other fights you can see there. Nathan Watson, 8-0. Dan Hill, 2-0. And Lachlan Nantes and Jean Shaw making their debut. Yeah, Jazzy Parr James, she can fight, all right. She's from pretty good pedigree, isn't she? John Wayne Parr, of course, legend of Muay Thai, obviously crossed over to boxing and fought Anthony Mundine as well, and beat Anthony Mundine. And regardless of the stage of career that he was at, it was still Anthony Mundine had a good win. So yeah, looking forward to that one. We'll skip ahead, I reckon, guys, to the next one the week after. Now that's Bilal Dib. Of course, that other fight for Lobo, fighting Francisco Fonseca. Dib 26-3. Francisco Fonseca 33-2. Alex Walters, yep, a good fighter. Obviously had that one against Mikhailovic. That was entertaining. He talked a big fight and got wiped out in 2 rounds, but body punched him. He's a good fighter. I'm sure he'll come back. And Adrian Rodriguez, as I mentioned before. Now, we didn't actually mention Alex Walters in our super welterweights before. He's another one thrown in the mix. Good fighters. And that will be a ripper. I'm not so sure about these other guys there. But then this is the one I want to talk about. This is the Melbourne Pavilion, big-time boxing. Brian Amatruda down there. Hasn't done as many shows as he normally does this year, Brian, but this one should be a ripper to end the year. Of course, headlined by Sam Solomon and Joel Camilleri. I know, I really like Joel because he cops a bit on social media, especially about this fight. Obviously, Sam's way past his best, 49-16-1. Joel Camilleri, 24-8-1. Look, you got to keep busy. That's what I like about Joel. Is Sam Solomon anywhere near his best? Nowhere near it. But look, it'll be a good, entertaining fight. Both fighters are very, very respected and well-liked and supported in Melbourne. The Melbourne Pavilion will be jam-packed. It will be a sellout, no doubt about it. As I said, Sam and Joel have big followings. Mason Smith, Lachlan Higgins will be a big fight as well. Who else we got there? Josh Gottschalk. I've promoted Josh before. William Cora, whatever you pronounce it. I'm not quite sure about him. So I'm not quite sure a lot of the other guys on there. A lot of those fighters on there, but it doesn't matter because Sam Solomon, Joel Camilleri will sell the joint out. They'll be hanging from the rafters and it'll be a ripper fight. I think Joel Camilleri actually wins that one. Sam is a spoiler, as we know, but I just think, Joel Camilleri is just a bit more young, obviously younger, been a bit more active, and I just think his style. Look, it won't be a pretty fight. Might be, a bit like a two octopuses wrestling, but look, that's just the styles. I don't think the fans will really care. They just want to hopefully farewell Sam off for his last fight. I hope he doesn't keep going on for too much longer. And Joel, look, I really like his attitude. As I said, he cops a fair bit from everyone on social media, but he just tells it the way it is. He doesn't lie. He doesn't pretend it's a world title fight. He's like, hey, this is a good fight for me at the moment. Sam Solomon's a good opponent for me. I'm going to take him on. Former world champion. Yes, well past his best. But this is what guys like Joel Camilleri do. You know, they fight these guys, get a good win under the belt, and who knows what it could open up for them. So I've got no dramas at all for this fight happening. The only thing I'm hopeful for is that Sam comes in good condition, which he always does. And I'm sure he'll put up a good fight. It won't be pretty, but as long as he just doesn't get knocked around, that's the main thing. Zigmont, back to Beck Rawlings. One tough girl, plenty of mongrel. Geez, you wouldn't want to be home late for dinner, would you, with her, I reckon, at the front door. She seems like the type of girl that doesn't take any shit and, let those hands go, I reckon. Beck Rawlings, one tough girl, plenty of mongrel about her. Yep, for sure. Originally from your co-host Tassie's Brown home state. She's a Tasmanian. Geez, well, that probably explains it. You just got to see the way Tassie flies off the handle sometimes. I didn't actually know that, Zigmont. I thought she was a Queenslander. I know she lives up there now. But as I said, guys, I'm really looking forward to seeing her fight because I think she has a big future if she wants it. But that makes perfect sense now that she's from Tasmania. That says a lot. Mohammed Zayden, as always, best show out there. Thanks for effort and passion. Hey, thanks, Mohammed. Really appreciate that, mate. Just come on here and just talk boxing with whoever wants to listen, mate. There's other shows out there that do other content. This is just me talking with fellow boxing fans and it's just a round table. I don't want to steal D-Style's name, but that's sort of what it is all the time. Old mate Big J, what happened to Beck Hawker first defence? Yeah, that's a good question, actually. That sort of come and went pretty quick, didn't it? Yeah, that's a very, very good question. I'll look into that, old mate, because she was supposed to be on this card, wasn't she? And it just sort of vanished. She was on it. I haven't missed it, have I? No, I haven't missed it. So, yeah, I don't know what... Your guess is as good as mine, Big J. I don't know. Actually, while I'm going, I'll look on the Facebook page. I'll look on Ace Box or her page and see what we can come up with just quickly before we move on. What do you all think of Tim Tszyu today, guys, at the airport? Probably not a lot to report. It was just everyone having a bit of a rubberneck. But where are we? Yeah, let's have a look. Now that was yesterday. I've been told not to do that by my wife. So apologies for that. If Tara's watching. No, I'm not seeing anything here, guys. Not seeing anything about being. Nope. No, nothing there. Sorry, guys. All right. Okay, so nothing there, old mate. Oh, there you go. All I had to do was look here. Ross got an injury. All right. Okay. Well, I'm not quite sure what injury she had there. Maybe if you can enlighten us, that would be good. Nothing on her Facebook page, which is where you always go, of course. No, nothing there. That's back about 3 weeks ago. So, all right. So let us know what the injury was if you know there. Beck, I'm glad. Ross, I should say. Glad you guys are keeping an eye on out there. Carl, what do you got there, mate? Hey, mate, what's your thoughts on Prograis and Zapata? I think he's the goods. I'd love to see Liam in a barn, but yeah, that's the fight I'd love to see too, Carl. That was a good fight, 11th round knockout it was. A really good fight up to then. Zapata, look, I think Prograis said that was Zapata's his toughest opponent. So, yeah, really, really good entertaining fight, I thought it was. And that fight with Liam, I think Prograis wants to fight Taylor, but if Taylor goes up, maybe... Liam could get a shot at that title. It was a WBC 140-pound title. So, yeah, that would be a great fight. I've just got a feeling, though, Carl, that Liam really wants to stick to the WBO route. He's obviously number 2, but look, you never know. Prograis might have that voluntary defence. He wants to fight Liam. Really good selling fight, I would have thought. It wouldn't be that hard to sell it to the fans out there based on Liam's last fight, that knockout real finish that he had. So... yeah, so we'll see what happens there, mate. But yeah, good call. Have they named where Tim versus Jamal fighting yet? Yeah, it's going to be at the MGM Grand, Carl. I don't think it's been officially 100% announced. I got a call from Glenn Jennings a couple of weeks ago, just every now and then. I think it was something to do, I think it was when we interviewed Shannon. I had a bit of a chat to him. He was on holiday, well-earned holiday, by the way. And he was a bit frustrated by a lot of things over there. He did say that, obviously it's Las Vegas, January 28th or 29th over here. Now, it hasn't actually been officially ticked that it's the MGM Grand by PBC, who are the promoters. We've all got to wait for them. Apparently, they want to announce it, but they're not allowed to. But from all accounts, it is the MGM Grand, which is really... It's great, isn't it, when you think that Costa fought there so long ago. Actually, we've got Skinny Hussein coming in. Hang on, let's have a look. Coming on early. So there he is. There. He's in the waiting room at the moment. But yeah, the MGM Grand there, Carl. So yeah, so stay tuned for that. But there are some frustrations that it hasn't actually been 100% announced that the MGM is the venue, but that is the case. I'm going to bring Nadal Skinny Hussein there. We haven't got Tszyu there yet. There's your screen there. Are you there, Skinny? How are you, mate?
Lyndon, what's doing, brother?
Good, mate. Thanks for coming on. You're 5 minutes early, which is good. Normally, Tassie's about 5 minutes late, so good to have you on, mate. I really appreciate it.
Nah, anything for you, mate.
Now, mate, it's been a big week for you. I won't sort of get right into it until Tassie comes on, of course. But, mate, I just want to ask you the question. We've had a few people here from when the show started tonight. Really keen to hear what you said. The one thing I really want to ask you is, obviously it dropped this week with Carlos Padilla out there with his comments about the Pacquiao fight. What were your thoughts when you first saw the video?
I'll tell you what, my blood pressure's never been that high in donkey's years, mate. I'm not a bloke that really gets angry. I don't get moody. I don't get upset much. But, mate, thank God he wasn't in front of me.
So who put the video up, Skinny? Well, I didn't actually see. I saw you shared it, but who was the person that actually released it?
The WBC did.
The WBC themselves put it up?
It was on their YouTube page.
Holy shit. So
that's what.
Go ahead.
Just the arrogance. They wouldn't have watched it beforehand because there's no way they're going to leak out that kind of information.
So after we had the Jeff Fenech controversy, well, not a controversy, of course, what happened a couple of weeks ago, what you got to wonder, the WBC, how could they see that as right where they've knowingly put on a referee that's admitted cheating and they happily put it on the social media page? That just doesn't make sense.
I honestly don't think they've, I think the arrogance and of how they conduct themselves, I think they just thought, they're above the law. We can do what we want because they usually can do what they want.
Because I said at the start of the show, mate, when I was talking about you coming on, that Carlos Padilla is just not your average referee. This is an all-time, it's probably a Hall of Fame referee. He's refereed some of the biggest fights ever. And Leonard, Hearns, Hagler, he's refereed them all. So to come from him, and with he's obviously part of the WBC, probably Hall of Fame referee. So for him to come out and say that, I mean, what you said your reaction. What about your team? What have you heard from Jeff Fenech about it? Of course, your brothers and everything else.
Yeah, my brothers are filthy. Jeff was very vocal on Saturday when I sent it to him.
Yeah.
He told me he spoke to Suleiman, and I don't know what's happening or what. The way he laughed, the way he smirked, the way he conducted himself, it was like he was proud of what he did.
Well, that's the intriguing thing, isn't it? Because I watched it again just before we come on air. I watched it the other day, of course, when you put it out there, and I watched it again before we started tonight. He was laughing about it. The guy that was interviewing was laughing about it. So he obviously thinks, well, that's okay. It's Manny Pacquiao, of all things. And I thought he was really disrespectful at the start when he shared, that Hussein guy and, managed by that Jeff Fenech and that tough guy. But
yeah,
it's just so disrespectful and I can't believe the WBC would actually knowingly put it out there. I thought it was just some bootleg or pirate or something that someone had put on there.
No, but they took it down. But a lot of people screen recorded it, and Taszyu said he'll be on at 8:20.
8:20, all right, yep, all right.
Yeah, said he's on his way home.
That's fine.
So what's it called? So there's a few more channels that have put it on since then. Mate, out of it, Victor Chinian sent me a video from Armenia. Then he FaceTimed me. He goes, "Have you seen this?" And I hadn't seen it. Some bloke in America.
Is that right?
Who has 350,000 followers. He put it up on his channel and it's had like 300,000 views.
Well, so I've had about 10 people send it to me from all over the world. There must be people that watch the show or on social media or whatever, all sent DM this video. And that's why, when Taszyu said, hey, let's get Skinny on, I was like, hey, let's do it. I wasn't quite sure your schedule, of course. But So is there any repercussions, mate? Is there anything that can be done about it? Or is it because it's Manny Pacquiao, it's all good?
Well, I know the Philippines aren't going to change the verdict.
No.
I know that for a fact. But through the WBC, maybe we can, we didn't get a fair shake. But we didn't get a fair shake from the get-go. From the second we got off the hotel, we didn't have a fair shake. But I'm not worried about the politics of the sport, but the way he conducted himself, the way he carried on beforehand in the fight, and if like when we had the rules meeting, they said there was going to be an Australian judge, a Filipino judge, a neutral judge, and an American referee. And then Carlos Padilla comes in, who was he was registered under the American Commission. So, but he was no American. I'll tell you that now.
So that's the American referee. He's just
Referee,
registered
yes.
in America, but he's a Filipino. And the thing is, he openly said, this is the thing that blew me away. He openly said, well, Manny's Filipino, I'm Filipino, everyone watching is Filipino, so we've got to do the Filipino thing. And then when he again admitted that he brought the doctor up, and there's a little bit of wink sort of thing going on that, it's a bad cut. Well, not only it was before that, because he obviously had, he was on the mat for 12 or 13 seconds. Then he got up. He was asked if he was okay 3 or 4 times. That wasted another 5 or 6 seconds. And then you were warned for pushing, and then you had the point deduction, and then you had the cut eye, and there was the whole nudge, wink thing to the doctor, and the doctors waved it off.
Yeah. Like, it made the nerve on him just to say it. Mate, we've seen fighters get robbed, and of recent, Dennis Hogan got robbed in America. We've seen Kevin Kelly lose a close fight. I'm not going to say robbery, but it was a close fight. We've seen Danny Green hard done by against Marcus Bion. But this is judges. Judges have always been sketchy.
Yeah.
But this isn't a referee who's blatantly come out and said, I haven't cheated on one reason or 2 reasons or 3 reasons, but on multiple reasons why. Who says I prolonged the count? You have a duty of care for the fighter.
Yeah.
If the fighter can't get up by 10, and if he can't get up by 10, he's not fit to continue. So why would you put someone's health at risk?
Well, another thing too, he admitted as well, is that you were too big, too strong. He admitted that. So he's got to do what he's got to do. I look, it's almost... You can almost play the Benny Hill music, can't you? That he said that you're too big and too strong. He said he gave him a long count. He said he took the point off to give him more time. He said he took you to the doctor, whatever chance he could. He went to the doctor. He recommended to the doctor that he stop it, and the doctor's like, yeah, okay, well if you'll say so, let's stop it. I'll just bring Tszyu in as we're going.
They didn't want to get to the scorecards because if the headbutt occurred, he would have to. With the WBC rules, they would have taken a point off Manny.
That is.
And I know by the Aussie judge had me two judges had me 2 points behind.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wasn't going to win the fight, but and the Filipino judge that was there was Bruce McTavish. He's a New Zealander.
Yeah.
But he's been there for 2030. Pardon?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. He did.
So, Taszyu, welcome to the Talking Boxing show, mate. Of course, it's not Boxing Deep Dive, but, mate, you're the one that actually sent me this video the other day, and I must admit, I'm glad that Carlos Padilla wasn't standing in front of you at the time.
I want to say something. Obviously, Skinny and all his brothers are my lifelong friends in the boxing game, like family. And I remember this very well. When he went over to fight Pacquiao. And Pacquiao had been a WC, I think a flyweight champion. He'd been a champion, still very big in the Philippines. And I remember when it happened, and I one of the first people to know about it, and I knew that it was wrong at the time. I knew that was a long count. I knew the referee favoured Pacquiao majorly. I knew that the referee affected the result of the fight. I said it for years. Maybe why I actually don't like Pacquiao. That's just my thing. But I've always said Nadal Hussein is one of the best fighters we've ever had. That was his time. Now, Skinny, I don't know if he's already commented on it. He was never the same after that fight. He's told me confidentiality. It's open now. He was never the same. He's training Jeff Fennick. He told him. It took the heart out of Skinny. Fought for 2 world titles still against, and was in both fights, but he was never the same. This was his night, and he was robbed of it. They talk about Fennick Azuma Nelson. This is a referee who's actually admitted it now. He's laughed about it, and he's actually admitted to making a long count, so 17 seconds, then warned him, asked if he's okay 10 times, then let him hang on ridiculously, and when Skinny flew him off, which what can you do? We got a guy fucking like hanging on. He then warned Skinny more time to get Pacquiao recovered. So he's admitted to that, but then he's admitted to encouraging the doctor to stop it. So this guy, like, if ever there's a fight that needs to be reversed, I know Skinny, he probably doesn't care about that, but I'm saying it. This fight, a guy's admitted to being a criminal. He's in charge to do a clean job. True Linden as a referee.
Mate, 100%.
He is just admitted on video, and it's wrong, and I'm happy. It's probably hard for Skinny to listen to it, but I hope it's gave him some closure or something, but it's just wrong, and it needs to be fixed. It's fucking wrong.
Yeah, Skinny, you hit on before. This wasn't judges that were incompetent. We get that nearly every month or something. There's some sort of controversy with whatever. This wasn't the judges, even though it might be questionable who was in front and who wasn't. This is a referee in cahoots with the doctor almost as much as you can say. And Ross actually made a good point there. He admitted, I didn't mention that before, that it was actually, he said it was a headbutt, but he called it a punch just to make sure. I mean, is that not the cherry on top or what?
I'm telling you, the nerve on this guy. I don't know where he's got the tenacity. I don't know if the bloke put a few boos in him before he started talking. But, yeah, he really rattled my cage, man. I don't usually get upset. I don't get worked up. I don't, you know, but Tazzy can work me up pretty good. But, yeah.
Well,
but, mate, there's a duty, mate. It's the only sport where you can kill someone and not get arrested for it.
Yeah.
So why would you put someone's life at risk?
Yeah, you're
if
right.
The guy was, if they said that his eyes were cross-eyed and he's groggy as, why would you let him fight on? I put money on if Tszyu was on the other foot. Mate, he wouldn't have even counted. He would have waited off as soon as I got up. I know what would have happened.
Yeah.
But
well, he said he had cross eyes when he was on the canvas. He's like, Manny, get up. Quick, get up. I'm running out of numbers here.
I'm just happy because, as I said, I've heard it from Skinny's brother Billy, said about the bad treatment they got when they were there, staying hours away, and all Skinny, you know, I spoke to Skinny about it, I spoke to Fennec about it, Hussey. But the fight, and I've told all the people, I always say to my mates, watch Pacquiao Hussein. They go, why? I said, look, this is my brother, should have been a world champion. Not everyone outside of boxing, not everyone knows him, unfortunately. Like, you know, people in boxing do, he's royalty. But, you know, I try and tell them, I go, my mate, you know, had this guy gone, and like, yeah, he's gone on and done this and that, but that was his time. And now this guy's admitted to not, it's criminal. The WC, well, good on him for giving Fennec the belt, but this is different. This is a referee admitting, and, mate, they need to change the result, give Skinny the W. It might not matter to him now, but and there's something needs to be done because this is wrong, and I know how much it's hurt this guy's career, and he's one of the best we've ever had. I'll tell you now. Skinny,
do you think there's a little bit of a silver lining out of what's happened this week in that, like Tazzy said, it's now come to light. So, you know, a lot of the casual Australian fight fans, even the world fans out there, well, Manny's got a lot of fans, of course, that weren't familiar with the circumstances about it. Now it's been, like you said, it's been shared hundreds of thousands of times, or sort of going all. I'm sure all the other Australian social media sites are going with it at the moment. You're going to be a busy guy in the next few days. Do you think that is that one good thing to sort of come out of it, that at least now people know what happened in that fight?
Mate, the diehard supporters know what happened in that fight. I mean, and people have told us beforehand, like, you're crazy to go to the Philippines. But Jeff had gone there with Todd Macklin and gone there with Arnel Baratella, so he sort of had comfortable feet. So he thought, you know what, as long as I'm there, we'll get a fair shake.
They got killed, though.
But the thing is, Jeff wasn't with us. Jeff was in America. I mean, in England. Adam White was fighting Johnny Nelson. Hussey was fighting an undercard. So Jeff rocked up the day before the fight. So the shenanigans they put us through, the hotel was 2 hours away from the venue on the day of the fight. The band's playing at 2 a.m. in front of our hotel. It's just, mate, the circus they run, like, it's not. You already jumped on a plane. You've gone to Asia. You're already behind the 8 ball.
Yeah.
You know. So give someone a fair shake in the ring. The least you can do is give them, like, in the ring, make it fair. Whatever happens on the outside happens on the outside. If my head is strong, I could prevail. But if my head's weak, I would have submitted before I got in the ring. That's the honest truth. Mate, the only country in the world that I've ever been to that's treated us fair was Japan. The crowd has never booed.
Yeah.
The crowd has never booed. The commission's always been polite. Mate, they've always done the right thing by everyone. But it's a shame that that's why fighters don't go to Asia or Thailand as opponents. They go there to build their record, but they don't get there as opponents because they know they're not going to get a fair shake.
I was going to say,
Hogan won 9 rounds in Mexico against Munguia.
Yeah.
Like, Munguia's mum would have scored it for Hogan, and still they wouldn't give it to him.
Yeah.
Hey, Skinny, I mean, you've always been so humble. You've never, ever had anything to say about Pacquiao. You always took it on the chin. But how crazy was it after the fight, Skinny, to know, because you knew it was a long count, you knew the shenanigans, to see him go on and actually do what he done. Like, he's beaten all-time greats. He's going to go down as, people have him the greatest of all time. People have him top 10. People like Manny think, well, look, he deserves it. He's done great. But how did it fit him? Think, hang on, I'm a good fighter, but this guy's gone on and done what I could probably never do. What did you? How real was it?
I never played out and thought, you know what, Pacquiao did this, I'm able to do it. No, but I knew that I was on the doors of a world title fight, and the champion at the time was Willie Lamont, who wasn't a strong champion at all. You know,
Never heard of him.
Eric Morales had gone up to featherweight. Barrera was the WBO champion. The WBC had the weakest champion at the time, and it showed because when Larios fought him, Larios knocked him out in 1 round. So and it derailed me 4 years before I got another title shot. So
I was just said before. I was going to say before as well, Tazzy, that about the Jeff Fenech thing that Jeff wasn't there, Skinny, because that's one thing I was surprised on the video is that where's Jeff? Because I would have expected Jeff to barrel into that ring and just go off his nut.
Jeff was there. Jeff was at the fight.
Oh, was he?
But he rocked up the day before.
Okay, so I expected him to be in the ring, but
we were in the ring.
He went off.
But
did he? Okay, all right. I didn't see the vision.
But not that that matters anyway, Linda. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, of course.
The robbery's been done anyway.
Yeah.
Jeff could, to the cows come home, complain. This is a guy that was in charge of 2 boxes. Like Skinny said, people can get killed. And it was foul play. He's admitted it. It's like going on the stand in front of a jury and saying, I committed this crime. He's admitted it. And it's got to be sorted out. I know Skinny doesn't care, yay or nay, but the WC, you give Fenech a belt, that's great, and he deserved it. We'll now give Skinny his vindication. I've never liked Pacquiao. I think his whole career has been fake. I won't go into that, though, but people know what I mean. He's a fake little Filipino rat.
But we're talking earlier, though, Tazzy, that Skinny said that
Fuck you,
unlike the WBC thing with the Fenech situation, it was actually the WBC that actually released it on their social media page, which is, so they obviously condone it, which even makes Skinny even more sort of befuddling.
Oh, the WBC, back in the early 90s, got sued for 36 million. Roccaccini sued him when they vacated him and gave Roy Jones a belt that he didn't deserve. So, mate, the WBC has been in turmoil for the last 20 years, having multiple champions, having
Silver.
For argument's sake, Keith Thurman hasn't had a fight for 2 years. They just made him the mandatory for Spencer in the WBC.
Charlo hasn't fought for 18 months.
Yeah, but how's that happen? Wow. And they do it with no shame, no, just ego, pride.
Well,
they're not accountable for nothing.
Maybe some Mexican cartel money, maybe, but they took the video down, Lyndon. You know?
Yeah, Skinny said that. Yeah.
So,
yeah, but other sources have posted it. Vic sent me a video today from America. I mean, Vic's in Armenia at the moment, but the video was
Vic.
I think I sent it to you, Lincoln.
Yeah,
Lind.
you did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Victor Chinyan.
Yeah, he was good. He's 76 kilos.
What did you fight at? 52? 54?
51, 53.
I love it. I love him. I love Vic.
Yeah, Vic's the best. He'll show me his house. He's
Our
a
old
happy
mate
camper.
says, compared to Maloney Franco too, how bad is a Skinny versus Pac-Man fight
What?
for BS? I think I don't think you can compare the two, Big
Totally
J, to be honest.
different,
But
mate. Totally different.
you know, that was official incompetence. This one was, well, I suppose they're still officials, but this is the guy that's been entrusted with your life, but literally, really, and the doctor as well, to actually for your well-being, and for the referee to actually admit that it was a headbutt and call it a punch, and then pretty much advise the doctor to stop the fight. It's just mind-boggling.
And said how he knew how to slow down the fight, slow down the count, go in again and warn Skinny, deduct a point. He said because he's very experienced, so he knows how to control the fight and do it, you know, for the wrong reason. So I mean, it's just absolutely disgusting, and like, you know, I don't know how Skinny's feeling himself. I spoke to him yesterday, but I mean, it's you know, finally everyone knows what I've known for so long.
You're right there, JJ. I'm not sure there's been a boxing match overturned, but I think that's not really we expect it to be overturned, but still there's got to be some sort of...
Have you ever had a referee admit to foul play before?
Yeah, but I don't think the Filipino Commission is going to get on board, Taszyu.
Nah.
Fuck the Filipino Commission.
Well, but you're right though, Skinny. It shouldn't be not necessarily the Filipino Commission. The WBC should be holding Padilla to account. He should be. He's obviously not refereeing anymore. It's almost. Well, when you think about it, it's almost a criminal offence. Well, it is a criminal offence. He's admitted to lying and cheating in a international sporting event. So the guy should almost be bloody sent to jail.
Well, Lyndon, I'll put this to you as well.
Yeah.
Say he's only just done this for Pacquiao to be champion.
Yeah.
What about if he had money on Pacquiao?
Yeah.
He's actually admitted to it though. So he's admitted to cheating. What about if it was for another? Like, you can't have grubs like this in the sport. You can't have a guy control the decision. The decision's in the God's hands. It's between two fighters, winner loser. You can't have someone control the decision of it. Yeah, I will, mate. I always will tell you what I think. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, but you know what? If you like, I've watched some certain basketball games where the colleges have had match fixing at a lower grade, and people have gone to jail for it. Players have gone to jail. Brokers have gone to jail for fixing games at a college level basketball, not NBA level.
100% Skinny. Yeah.
But
Michael
boxing holds no one
Franchise.
accountable. Boxing holds no one.
Go ahead, Taszyu.
Michael Franchise, the ex-mafia boss, has admitted to being part of college, even NBA games. I mean, it's just about how old is this old Filipino dog, by the way?
Who, Manny?
How old's the Filipino dog, the referee?
Oh, I'd have to be about 80 now, wouldn't he?
At 85.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's all good. Big J, yeah, it's just a little bit different. The Andy Maloney thing in Franco was, you know,
I'm
it was
familiar with
obviously...
the fight. How can you
Yeah,
be
it was
unfamiliar with the
just a
fight?
different type of... This is where the referee has admitted cheating in the fight to give Pacquiao the win when Nadal's clearly knocked him out. And someone said before, probably the best jab they've ever seen, mate, because it was a pretty innocuous sort of punch, wasn't it?
Yeah, but like everyone thinks it was a fluke. I've dropped many people with jabs, and it's the only punch I can land on the southpaw. I hate him. I honestly hate a southpaw, brother. But I did it in amateurs. I dropped plenty of people in sparring. So it wasn't a fluke by any chance.
I'll vouch for feeling his left, mate. I felt everything of Skinny's. His left jab, his right hand, his left hook, his left rip, his right rip. I felt everything of his. I vouch for his power.
Here's one for you, Skinny. Run amok. What would you do if you met Padilla after the fights? What did happen after the fights?
Oh, they took him out, and the army took us out because the crowd were very vocal after the fight. And we sort of showed our disappointment. They didn't like that. So they moved us to a dressing room in the back. There was army there to sort of help us get back to the hotel because of our safety. Because it's not safety, that's the truth. Yeah. They had soldiers with machine guns there. So they didn't want nothing to break out. Jeff had, in the rounds before, had thrown bottles back into the crowd because they threw bottles into the ring. Jeff threw him back into the crowd. I was dirty. I was a dirty fighter at the night. I pleaded with Padilla on the headbutt, on certain things that Pacquiao was doing, and he didn't do nothing. And I sort of really, I did some dirty things on the night. I did things that were unethical. I sort of pushed him with my elbow, and I put him down, and I tripped him on one stage. But it's all part of the sport.
Yeah.
It wouldn't let you go. It was hanging on to you
Yeah.
more than any of your girlfriends in the past.
I've
marriage.
Now, everyone watching out there, I've put the links in the comment section there. So the first one is Carlos Padilla, his comments, and the second one there, I'm just putting up there, that is the actual fight itself. So check it out in full.
Little Manny went on to become a multi-millionaire, almost a president, and the biggest fraud in boxing.
How does that make you feel as well, Skinny? I mean, I know there's no guarantees in the sport, but the what Manny actually went on to after this, I mean, it must magnify it even more.
Manny was special in the smaller weight divisions, but for him to do it above featherweight was the surprise of my life. Yeah. When they put him against Cotto and these guys off for these guys, even against De La Hoya, they moved it from state to state because they couldn't get a sanction because they were worried about the safety of the fighter. And he blitzed through Mayweather, Shane Mosley, Cotto, Adam, Joel Diaz, Margarito. Mate, what he did. And, you know, I got nothing against Manny. I seen him after the fight in Vegas. I seen him in Memphis. He came up, he shook my hand. We didn't talk. He shook my hand, I shook his hand. We weren't friends, but we were very respectful. Like, Manny wasn't the ref, he was doing the fighting, you know?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of money at stake. In the Philippines, in Thailand, there's a lot of gambling happening. Their duty of care is for their fighter at any cost.
What's this question?
Here, if you had won the fight and moved on to fight better fighters, e.g. Mayweather, would you have had the capability to beat him or guys like that?
No. Listen, I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't have been a Mayweather, I wouldn't have been a Barrera, and I wouldn't have been Morales. But I would have got close to Israel Vasquez, Willie Lamont, Michael Brody, who were the top 3 dogs at the time. But forget the pound for pound. Yeah. Barrera, Morales, and Mayweather, I wouldn't touch him.
Skinny. Dream fight versus Nazim Hamed. How would you go? Featherweight.
Fuck Nazim.
Not a fan?
He's a Muslim brother. What are you talking about?
He's a Muslim, but I don't like the arrogance that he shows.
He's arrogant like me.
You're obnoxious.
Well, I think the thing is, Skinny, with everything is that, as I said before, I think what it's at least done is bring to light what happened, and a lot of people that didn't know about this fight. I must admit, I'd watched the fight. Obviously, didn't realise the controversy that was involved, so I'm really happy that this has now come out. Look, I'll be honest with you, I doubt anything happens with it at all, except maybe for world condemnation of the thing, but this is WBC, this is Carlos Padilla, but end of the day, mate, I'm glad it's come to light, and like a few people said in the comments, mate, you are and should have been a real champion, and you are obviously champion to us, mate, so I know you're the type of guy that won't come out and, you know, say it, but we're going to say it for you, aren't we, Tszyu, that it's complete bullshit.
I've always said it. Me and Skinny, we've got a relationship. We've been friends since we were 14, so we take the piss, but he knows I love him. Mate, he's one of the greatest fighters we've ever had. I've had harder spars with Skinny than I have with Mundine and even Tszyu. Like, Skinny Hussein is a real deal and a great human. His brothers are all legends, but mate, he's one of the best we've had. I watched him as an amateur. Lyndon, he was making guys do backflips by knocking guys unconscious.
I remember.
In the amateurs. He was the most feared puncher we probably ever had in Australia ever. Even as a junior, making kids do backflips, put them on stretchers. The guy had devastating power like no other. And he deserves his accolades.
Yeah, no, well said, mate. Well, as I said, mate, you've had a lot of views on there tonight that are, it's good that it's been brought to light, mate. And as I said, you'll always be one of the best Aussies, mate. And hopefully there's some sort of justice.
Thanks, boys.
Thanks, guys.
See you, Skinny, my brother.
Yeah, bro.
All right, that was Skinny Hussein. So there is a little bit of a delay here, guys. So apologies if you've asked a question right at the end, and it hasn't been answered. James, mate, you hit it on the head. I tried to probably explain it a bit better than I remember. And Tazzy's right. Skinny was around when I was on the national team for going for the Olympics. I'm not sure it was for the Commonwealth Games, but definitely for the Olympics and other events. He was just really unfortunate that he was in the same division as a bloke named Robbie Peden. And Robbie was, in my opinion, I've stated on the show before, I think the best amateur we've ever had. It's just unfortunate that Skinny came up against him numerous times and missed out on a lot of those big tournaments. But a credit to him, what I will say, and he probably wouldn't, he's not here so he can't hear, but a thing that he probably wouldn't like everyone to know is that he could have easily went either up or down, but he didn't want to do that. He wanted to be in that division because that's what he thought was his right division, and he kept fighting Robbie Peden. He could have easily gone up, as I said, or down, or probably more up, and made the team in some other way. He didn't want to do that. Didn't want to seem to be skipping divisions. He wanted to beat the best, and Robbie Peden, as I said, was the best. So, so just a great guy, and one of the greats of Aussie boxing, and hopefully this sheds just a little bit of light on what happened. So. We'll see what happens. What do we got there, Andy? Hey, bro, Carl, Tazzy and Skinny. Sorry, gang, just arrived Darwin from funeral back in Queensland with the family. All good, Carl. Andy, hope all is good up there, mate. Minnesota Mick, man, I think I remember this fight down there. Check it out, the link there, Mick, because if you watch it, it's blatantly obvious. And again, Padilla actually admits it, that Pacquiao is hanging on for dear life. And Skinny's trying to get him off and pushes him off and gets a point deducted for pushing. This is when Manny's almost gone. So, it's just an amazing turn of events. And then, as I said earlier, to deliberately call it a punch when he said it was a headbutt, just totally bewildering. But anyway, old mate Big J, bloody hell, Aussie gets screwed over in boxing. Yeah, look... to be honest with Big J, I think there's probably been some examples in Australia where fighters have gone away and felt really hard done by. I mean, Manny himself against Jeff Horn, I think that's a completely different example. That was a really, really close fight that he just happened to lose. A little bit different to that situation with Skinny. That was just a close fight that he lost, and I think everyone was just a bit butthurt that it was Manny Pacquiao and he lost to this unknown Australian, and they called it a robbery, and it's just gathered momentum since then. It wasn't a robbery. Should Manny have been given the decision? If it had went the other way, there would have been no complaints. I think Jeff won by 2 points, 7 rounds to 5. Could have been a draw. I don't think Manny did enough to win, but hey, all those people out there in a good way that said Manny won, no problems. The guys out there don't really know much about it. It was just Manny fanboys that said he was ripped off. That's a bit different. But the people in the know who know boxing who think Manny won, no drama. It was that close. But it wasn't a robbery. That's just that's bullshit. Andy, yes, please take the time out to hit the like button. Yes, I keep feeding that. Carl, at least Jeff Horn got given a decision against Manny at Suncorp. Yep, he did, as I've just said, talked about that one. I still can't believe Padilla has come out to say he outright cheated to give Pac-Man a win. Yeah, and I had to see it to believe it, Del. I had to see it to believe it, because Tazzy sent it to me the other day and he had all the fire and brimstone with it, and I could barely understand what he was saying. He was so worked up. I'm like, what's this? So, okay, I'll check it out. And I couldn't believe it when I saw it. So make sure the link's in there, click on it and watch it, because I couldn't believe what this guy was saying. And as I said before, this is not just any referee. This is a Hall of Fame referee, Carlos Padilla. He's one of the biggest or well-known referees of all time. Openly admitted to cheating on numerous counts. And for the WBC to think it's okay to post that on their own social media, I've got no doubt the backlash that they've received has just been like a tidal wave, which is probably why they've taken it down, and with good reason. I'll be really interested to see what happens next. As I said before, I don't think anything happens. It's WBC, it's Manny, it's Padilla, who knows. But geez, could there be a little bit of justice where this guy goes to jail? Because that's what he deserves to be, in jail. It's absolutely ridiculous. I'm with you here, Carl. Close fights can go either way. You can't be doing them. No. Your favourite fighter might not win, but that's life. We've all been there. I will say, though, the Jeff Fanny Kazuma Nelson fight's totally different, because I thought Jeff won at least 9 or worst case 8 of the 12 rounds. So I can get a little bit pissed about that one, but this is totally different. This is cheating. You know, the one with Fennick and Nelson might have been incompetent judges. This is cheating. And a guy who admits to cheating. He hasn't been accused of cheating. He admits to cheating. It's just... Anyway. We'll move on a little bit in a sec, guys. Jay, does Tim Tszyu hold more credit with Tszyu to not get robbed versus Charlo? Yeah, I think so, Jay. Look, who knows? You never know what judges you're going to get. I mean, I don't know. I don't think judges... I won't say that. I was just going to say, I don't think judges clearly go out there to cheat, and there's money being changed hands. I don't know. I'm not going to cast a spirit. I don't know. What I will say is, when there's a fighter like a Canelo or a Mayweather or Pacquiao, these are the A side, the A plus side. So the judges tend to just watch the one fighter, which is why Canelo got a lot closer to Bivol than we all thought. We all thought Bivol won clearly. The judges had it a lot closer because they tend to watch the superstar. That's just what they do. Any close rounds, obviously the superstar gets it. The name, they are human in the end. Yeah, there's some pieces of shit out there that take money and all the rest of it, but a lot of these guys, they just get starry-eyed, and it happens. I've seen it in the amateurs. I've said on this show before, at the world titles or Olympics, whatever it might be, the Cubans, the Americans, the Russians, the Germans, they fight in Australia or New Zealand or whatever. They watch the one fighter, and any little bit of each way, it always goes to the name country, and it's the same in this instance here with those big mega star fighters. It's just the way it is. But in this instance, yeah, I don't think there'll be a robbery. If there is, it could be just incompetent judges. I don't think Charlo's, to be honest with you, Jay. I know he is technically a big name, but I don't think he's a big enough name to do that with Tszyu. And you're right, maybe Tszyu counterbalances that with the Tszyu name against Charlo, who's semi there, but not. I don't think he could have been. He could have been up there with the Canelos of the world, if you ask me. But in activity, fighting lesser opponents, he's been his own worst enemy. And you see the other day he's talking about fighting Bivol now. Not sure what's behind that, but anyway. Carl, given Charlo is undisputed, Tim needs to win convincingly, similar to the Bivol versus Canelo. As I said, mate, I think he needs to win convincingly, but I don't think it needs to be as convincingly as what Bivol needed to win over Canelo. Dal, thanks for joining in tonight as well, Dal. Appreciate that, mate. I'm not sure how many shows you watched in the past, but good to have you on. Cheated on two fronts, a knockdown and the headbutt. Yep, 100%. WBC is the worst organisation in boxing. Yeah, I always thought they were the best, to be honest. Carl were the most prestigious title. But the belt might be prestigious, but the organisation certainly isn't, is it? That's crazy. Taszyu was bang on. I bet the referee had money on the fight. Quite conceivably, Carl, to be honest. Who knows? Maybe there's pressure on him from his Filipino mates. I don't know. This is an interesting one, guys. Minnesota Mick. Tszyu ain't beating Charlo, y'all. What do you guys think? Now, be honest about it. I know we're all Aussies. We all want him to win. Realistically, guys, can Tim Tszyu beat Jermell Charlo? I'll be honest, I have no idea. I think, has he got the ability? Yes. I just don't think we've seen the last version of Charlo was pretty good against Castagna, but he can be a bit hit and miss, Charlo. If he doesn't rate guys, he tends to sort of struggle a little bit. I've got a feeling though with Tszyu, he's not going to be like that. I think he's going to be pissed. I think he's going to be insulted and pissed about Tim Tszyu and all that's been in the lead up, and I'm sure there'll be more in the lead up to it. I think he wants to make a statement against Tim. So I think we're going to get the best Charlo, the aggressive Charlo. I think he's going to try and take Tim out. And look, as much as we love Tim, let's be honest, he probably hasn't fought anyone at that really, really top level yet. And that's not to say he's not as good as we think he is, because I think he is. But that's probably the only question mark I've got, is that Tim hasn't been in there with someone like a Charlo. I think he's got more than enough ability and belief to get the job done. But that's, as I said, it's just one question mark I have, is that we haven't seen him in against one of those really top-ranked guys yet. But I speak for all you guys out there, that I think he'll rise to the occasion. Whether it's enough, we'll soon see. But I think he'll give a really good account of himself. Carl says that's what they said about Kambosos with TO2. Yeah, exactly. They didn't give Kambosos one bit of chance at all. And look, let's be fair, Lopez didn't rate Kambosos, but that's not George's fault. He went over there to win, and I love that version of George. I really did. He was in his face. He was a really beast of a fighter then, and let's hope he can get back to that, because he needs to be at that level to beat the likes of Teofimo Lopez again. Lyndon, what do you think of Charlo needing a stoppage for victory against Tszyu? I don't think he needs a stoppage, Charlo. James, I think he's more than capable of it. I don't think he needs a stoppage victory, to be honest, James. I think he's, the judges will do the thing, but I think he's going to come out smoking. I really think he's going to try and take Tim out. I really do. I think he's going to come out and, as I said before, make a statement. That's the danger for me. As we saw in the last fight and a couple of fights, Tim can start slowly sometimes. Hopefully they're prepared for it this time. And he obviously got dropped against Gorchet. I've got a feeling they'll know that Charlo's going to come out hard and they'll be prepared. That's the only danger, I think, for me. I think if Tim settles into the fight and gets past that sort of 3, 4, 5 rounds, then who knows, we might have a new undisputed champion. That Charlo is a different class and he's mean. Yeah, well, we'll see, Mick. I'm not arguing with you, mate. He's, I suppose, as I said, the jury's out as far as it being in a different class goes. I mean, let's face it, he's a full belt champion. Tim has got to the number 1 ranking by being strategically matched, which is great on his management's part and his promotions company. But we'll see whether he's at the different class ability-wise. All Aussies think so, Mick. We've got big belief in our man Tim, so we'll just have to see. One thing we'll be sure, there'll be a shitload of Aussies in Las Vegas, mate. So back to Dal. Skinny fought Pac-Man, Larios, Harrison, and Nishiyama, all abroad on enemy territory. Yufine and Hussey had the promoter and the money. We're seeing these days they would unify divisions. Yeah. And Hussey, the same, fought those, Arce and all the others he fought as well. So they were good fighters. As I said before, they were on the team when I was there. I went to the Olympics and Commonwealth Games with Hussey and World Championships, Commonwealth Games, World Championships, whatever it was, with Hussey. They're both very, very good fighters. They're always made for the pros. And the fact, like you said there, Dale, they went overseas and chased the big fights. Who knows what could have happened if they had a No Limit or a D&L around back then. Could have been a hell of a lot different story. Carl says, hey, Lyndon, did you see Jamal Charlo call out Dimitri Bivol? Yeah, I did see that, Carl. I don't know what he's thinking there, Charlo. There's some middleweight options for him, you'd probably think. But to want to go up to 168, I think it was. I think it was 175. Was it 168? Just seemed a bit odd for me. I don't know. It was an odd call, Carl. I'm just not sure he wants, as they say, the Americans say, he wants that smoke, to be honest. I think Bivol would win that fight, I think. But again, Charlo's had one fight in 18 months, so who knows. But I know he doesn't want to fight Carlos Adames. I don't think he wants to fight him. That's his mandatory. So maybe he's looking at this fight as a higher risk, but probably higher reward money-wise and everything else. I don't think he's going to get a lot of money for fighting Adames, I don't think. So why not chase this? But yeah, it's an odd one. Charlo, just get in there and fight, mate. Fight somebody. Stop the talking and start fighting. Oh, mate, Big J, I guarantee Tszyu won't get against Charlo. It won't go the distance. Okay, you don't think he wins? Oh, mate, yep, that's fine. I'm assuming that's what you mean there, mate. You won't get it against Charlo. It won't go the distance. You think Charlo stops him? Yeah, there's that distinct possibility, mate. Dal, first time, mate. Good call. Thanks for coming on, Dal. Appreciate it, mate. Let's see. That Jamal is a big puncher. Yes, he is, Mick. I sort of get your point that you think Jamal's going to win, and that's fine. We know we're under no illusion that this is a massive, massive step up for Tim. This is a huge step. The best fighter he's fought by a mile. But what we love about Tim is that he said, well, hey, this is the full belt guy. I want to fight him. I want to fight him in America, in Vegas. I want to go over there and beat him on his own turf, and I want to bring those belts back home, which is good. I mean, sometimes these fighters get sort of almost pushed into the fights with guys like Charlo. Tim can't wait to get his hands on Charlo. And whether that's enough, look, who knows? Who knows? And if Charlo is too good for him, well, good luck to him. Tim's got some other big fights ahead of him as well, and he's still young enough to have another crack at it. Jamal Charlo looked real mean versus Castano won. Well, he barely got out of first gear in that fight, didn't he? And that's what I said before, Carl. Because he can, if he turns up unmotivated, he can look pretty ordinary. He turned up the second fight motivated and got the job done. But what Charlo turns up, I think the latter. I think he turns up raring to go. But hopefully I'm wrong. And he turns up and expects an easy payday and Tim catches him by surprise. Oh, mate, yep, Tszyu won't last 6 rounds. Okay, yep. No, yep. That's fine, Big J, sorry. Old mate, Big J. Yeah, I'm not going to argue with you there, mate, because it could quite easily happen. But either way, as I said, I like the fact that he's gone over there and he's taken it head on. And if he doesn't win, well, so be it. We'll move on. But respect that, mate. Jay Brown, I'm very keen to see what Joe Goosen does with him. Is that Charlo, is it? He's with Goosen now. Okay, I wasn't aware of that, mate. So, can Castano beat Tszyu too? Come on, Mick. Are you trying to rile us up a bit there? I think Tszyu easily handles Castano, to be honest, Mick. I just think Castano's got that style that Tim loves, and I think Tim would beat Castano quite convincingly. Just my opinion. That's your opinion too. That's fine. D-Style Boxing. How are you, mate? Thanks for coming back in. Jeff Horn won that Pacquiao fight. Teddy Atlas scored like 4 rounds even. Only had Pac winning by like 2 points, but called it a robbery. Yeah, and we've talked about on this show a few times, mate, that Ben Damon, the Australian pay-per-view commentator or announcer, whatever you want to call him, interviewed Freddie Roach, and Freddie Roach admitted that he thought Jeff Horn won that fight. And as I said before, mate, I'm not saying that was Jeff Horn won easy. It was a tough fight. It could have gone either way. I just think Jeff Horn won 7 rounds. I think Jeff probably won 5, if not 6 of the first 6 rounds. I thought Pacquiao coming. He had that big 9th round, but I still don't think it was big enough to be a 10-8 round. I think it was a big round. I don't think at any stage did Jeff look like he was going to go down. Yeah, he was rocked. He looked a bit tired. I don't think he was in danger of going down. Pacquiao didn't really push it as much as he normally would. And then I thought Jeff won the last 3 rounds. So I thought he won 7 rounds. So at least. Is the fight official? Yes, it's 100% official, JJ. It is, yeah, as I said before, January 28th, so the 29th in America. 28th in America, 29th in Australia. MGM Grand in Las Vegas, mate. So it should be awesome. Jamal can be upset. He's better in rematches. Yeah, well, that's the thing, mate. As I said before, Eric, it just depends which Jamal turns up. I think Tim's going to be prepared for the best version of Jamal. So I don't think there's going to be any surprises. In my opinion, Jamal comes out hard. Tim's prepared for it. Whether that's enough, we'll soon see. I think he plays it safe for a round or 2 and then starts to get into his groove. And I think if it gets in that 5, 6, 7 rounds, I think Charlo can tend to go to sleep a little bit. I think Tim, if he gets his back up, he gets his confidence up a little bit, I think he can start to find his range. And I really think he can win the fight. Who knows? Old mate Big J again. Tszyu had hand problems and inactivity. Piri goes against him. Sort of, Big J. He has had the hand problems, but from what I heard, it was a bit of a clean-up. He hasn't had hand problems in the past, per se. It was the opportunity with this fight being so long away that they took the opportunity to clean up his hands, which put him out of action anyway. I don't think inactivity is going to be a big factor. He's always been pretty active, Tim. And let's face it, he's only been, by the time he gets in there, only would have been out of the ring. Actually, I better put that in there, but no. This has been about 8 or 9 months, I think it's been. Let's have a look. Tim Tszyu. So he last fought. Oh, okay. So it was March of 26. So it would have been 10 months. I don't think it's a huge issue for him. I don't think, especially because he hasn't stopped training or anything like that. And he's spent time over in Bali Thailand doing a camp, and now he's off to Las Vegas for 4 weeks. LA for 4 weeks, and then Vegas for 4 weeks. So yeah, look, Jamal Charlo fought in May, so it's only a couple of months difference. And before that, he hadn't fought for 10 months, and before that, another 10 months. So he sort of fights once every year. He did fight twice in 19 with Tony Harrison and Jorge Cota, but that's about it. So I don't think it'll be a factor, mate, but we'll see. Minnesota Mick. Man, that Charlo going to hurt him. Yep. Who's that Tim Tszyu beat? I'm taking it, Mick, that you're a Charlo fan, and that's cool. That's all good. But Tim Tszyu's our man. It was pretty funny, though, when he called him Tim Tszyu, wasn't it? But I think Tim took it in his stride as well. I thought it was pretty funny. Look up Box Rec, Mick, says Carl. Yep. D-Style again. Thanks for the comments here, guys. In my opinion, Castano won the first fight versus Jamel. I'm with you there, mate. I thought the same. He lost to Harrison first time. Jamel, great adjustment from one fight to another. At least he's shown that, but he's beatable. Yes. Very, very beatable, mate. And just, as I've said before, it depends on which Charlo turns up. We know what Tim's going to turn up. If the Charlo turns up before Castano the first time or Harrison the first time, Tim Tszyu will beat him, and I think beat him convincingly. If the Charlo that turns up in the rematches turns up, that's when it could get a little bit interesting. Carl says, Bivol laughed at him and said, do you have a belt? Well, he's still got a belt. He shouldn't have it. He's been out of the ring for so long. But anyway, Zigmont, plenty of views and some great comments tonight. Lyndon, well deserved. You blokes do a great job. And with his channel, looking forward to the Christmas show. Really appreciate that, mate. Look, we're trying to have a show that is user or viewer friendly, rather than us getting on there and just saying our views all the time. We really love the interaction with you guys. That's why it's always good if you guys want to come on the show. It's always better. But that's cool. I understand. That's fine. I'll put the link in there again if any of you want to come on. But no, I really appreciate that, Zigmont. We have a lot of fun doing it, and it's great to have you guys along, and more coming on each week, which is even better. James D-Style. None of Tzew's 2001 opponents have come close to beating him. Yeah, it's right, James. But look, really, when you think about it, apart from Jeff Horn, probably hasn't. It was obviously world class, but maybe not the real top world class. He hasn't come. None of them have come close to beating him. But with all due respect to Tim's and his opponents, none of them have been anywhere near as good as what Charlo or his opponents have been. But I just think Tim, regardless of who he's fought, I just think he's got the goods. I mean, Jeff Horn hadn't really fought anyone either when he fought Manny Pacquiao, and Cambosis. I know he fought a couple of ex-world champions. I sort of more on the way out. Cambosis when he fought Lopez still got the win. So anyway, it's each to their own. Base, oh man, thanks mate. Salute Boxing Deep Dive, appreciate that mate. Carl again, 140-pound division is absolute fire. Yep, plenty of big fights happening there, Carl. Jay, Tim Tszyu, rendered out Joe Goose's. Oh, sorry, that's what you meant, Jay. Yeah, I did know that. Shut the whole thing down. Yes, I did mention before that Glenn Jennings called me a couple of weeks ago for a chat, and I really appreciated that, by the way, because I know he's flat out, so he just wanted to give me a bit of a heads up on what's happening and everything. Now, I'm going to be in the States when Tim's training over there, so if I'm there and it sort of fits in, Glenn's actually said it's okay to go to the gym and watch Tim train. He did say he's obviously at Joe Gooson's gym. So if I can get there, I'm definitely going to go. That would be awesome to see Tim doing a little bit of training. Hopefully we'll see him in Vegas as well, but I would really like to see him in that stage of his prep. So, yeah, sorry, I forgot. I didn't sort of get what you were talking about there, Jay. Yeah, so if you didn't know, Tim's training at Joe Gooson's gym. They've shut the whole thing down for Tim to train up for 4 weeks. So he's obviously taking it very, very seriously, as obviously they will. So, yeah, I'm not sure whether Joe will have any actual input into the camp. I'm sure he'll be there and offer his advice and different things, but I think it's just a matter of using that gym, Jay, rather than have Joe as part of the camp. Teddy Atlas is biased as hell. Well, you know my opinion of Teddy if you watch his show often. I'm not a fan. Teddy is punch drunk. Yep. Interesting that he's punch drunk from sort of what? I'm sure he's probably had a little bit of a mini boxing background, but nothing of note. Just way too opinionated for someone that, hasn't been punched in the face, at least at an elite level anyway. Mick not letting it lie, guys. Charlo a killer. Tszyu hasn't fought anyone. It's your opinion, Mick, and that's why we have you guys on here. You're entitled to your opinion. I've just got to feel, you're trying to razz us up a little bit, Mick, us Aussies down here. You're trying to get a bite out of us. Carl, wow, Minnesota Mick. Do you sniff Jamel's jockstrap or do you neck the lot, mate. Hey, we've got Carl coming on. There you go. I'll bring him on. Hang on. Let's see where he is. I'll just see what guest we've got there. Number 3. There he is. Let's bring him on. Is he there? Carl, how are you, mate?
How are you? Have a got the size of the head on it.
You look good, mate. Thanks for coming on. It's I'm liking the fact some of you guys are starting to come on. It's great.
Yeah, mate. How are you?
Good, mate. Now you're obviously we'll sort it out with Minnesota Mick while we're going here, mate. Is he just taking the piss, or is he honestly believe that?
Oh, fucking fanboys, mate. Fanboys. It's boxing, mate. It's boxing.
What do you say here? Charlo a killer, Tszyu hasn't fought anyone. Hang on, what do we got here from Mick? Is that more an Aussie reporter coming over that disrespected Charlo at that press conference? I think that was that was one of the Fox Sports guys, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, mate. If anyone's got a chance, bloody Tim has.
Yeah. So how do you see it, Carl? I mean, I know we like the banter and all that sort of stuff. How does Tim win? Do you really think he can win? And if he can, then how?
Mate, he's got to do it convincingly, and he's got to move forward, mate. I don't think he can be on the back foot. I think he's got to get in the pocket, and I don't know if he wants to exchange flat out with Charlo, because Charlo can be a bit, he's pretty heavy-handed. But mate, he's got to counter well. He's got to utilise the ring, and mate, I think he's got as good a chance as anyone of beating Charlo.
Yeah, no, I agree, mate. See there, Jay Brown. It's 4 a.m. in Minnesota right now, Mick. It's surely bedtime to do some more drink. 4 a.m. and you're watching. Hey, mate, we appreciate you being on. That's great. It's what is it here? About 9 o'clock at night here, or here? Probably 8 o'clock up there, is it?
8 o'clock up my way, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, down here in we're Mexico down here. It's 9 o'clock. So. What do we got here? JJ. Nah, I'm favouring Charlo. What else, buddy? Tszyu can become undisputed. Wow, yeah, nah, it would be good. Mick, he's not sold. So Mick probably needs another coffee, I reckon. So Carl, give us. You just said how Tim can win. What are some of the concerns that you have? I mean, with Charlo. I mean, obviously he's an undisputed champion for a reason.
Mate, Tim's been dropped before, but to Tim's credit, mate, he's got straight back up.
Yep.
And he didn't look groggy. And then he won that fight convincingly against Tszyu. He won that fight convincingly, mate. He had a point to prove. And mate, let's not forget, if there's any bloke in Australian boxing that can do it, man, it's a humble dude like Tim Tszyu, man. He can just block out the hate, and he knows he's got a biggest job on his hands. It's the biggest task he's ever had. But mate, he's like any Aussie, mate. He don't duck smoke. We don't duck smoke. Aussies want it all, mate. We want it all, and we're not prima donnas, mate. Yeah. It's one thing about Aussie boxing, we're not fucking prima donnas, and we don't hide behind belts and run and pick cherries. And Tim's gone from class to class to class, mate. You can't doubt that with the bloke. You got to give him his props.
Yeah, no, you do, mate. And similar to George Kambosos, who said, "All right, well, the title's not going to come to me, so I'm going to go out and get the title." And he fought all around the world and all different countries and different opponents, whoever they threw at him, he fought. Some of the times he was even the fight after the main event. I think it was one of Pacquiao's fights. He just did it because he had to, and then got his opportunity and relished going to America to win the belt. And that's the impression you get with Tim. You just get the impression that he doesn't want this in Australia. He wants to fight this guy in Las Vegas. He wants the big time, and he's going to get it.
Yeah, man, and it's the first time his old man's in his corner since his first pro fight.
Yeah. Do you reckon is that a bit of a distraction, you think, or is it going to be a good thing?
I think he's given Dad strict orders to shut his fucking mouth and just observe.
Well, because when you think
Pardon
about
my
it,
French.
Well, when you think about it, he's going to be in Vegas, of course. There's going to be a shitload of Aussies there, not just Aussies, but world fans. It's Vegas, of course. So with Costa Tszyu there, everyone's going to want an interview. He's going to be around the city. Be interesting to see. Look, I think my opinion is Tim will have the blinkers on. He won't even probably ever notice it, but it'll probably just be everyone else that notice it. But I think it might be a good thing for Tim just to settle him down there. Geez, the more people you got around you that you love and you trust, the better, I think.
Hey, mate, I'll just say one thing. For all the American boxers out there, watch this bloke when he gives an interview, because this guy shows you how people need to act around. This is how you act around a camera. Yep. I'm predicting the future, and I'm going to show you how a fighter should act around a camera and in front of people. this is gonna show you exactly what boxing should be about, mate.
Hey.
They're the type of fighters I dig, mate. Are humble in the ring and out of the ring.
Yeah, mate, I was just going to say it's a very good point because, hey, look, we know we've got some American viewers out there, of course. We love our American viewers, but the culture's a little bit different in the sporting world. Now, if the Americans or just people from not Australia can sort of, the way us Aussies we like humble champions, don't we? We don't like the trash talk. We don't like all the hot dogging. We don't like all the, the Hollywood type of stuff. We like humble sportsmen, not just boxers, but all people, which is why someone like a Nick Kyrgios is not well liked in Australia, the tennis player, because of his personality. We like our athletes, especially our fighters, to be down to earth, and you can't get better than that than with someone like Tim, and that's probably why Michael Zerafa is so unliked, and to some extent, George Kambosos lost a few fans in the first Haney fight as well.
Mate, he lost me in that first fight, Lyndon. Oh, the smack talk with the rat and the snitch, and mate, we all know what rats and snitches are, mate. And it's just that was odd. That was odd.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think he had anything to come at Devon with. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he had anything because Devon just stayed quiet and stayed in his lane and did his thing, man. And yeah, a lot of people can say what they want about Devon Haney, man, but he did the job with a jab.
Yeah. Yeah.
He neutralised everything George had with a jab, mate. Yeah. Like, George didn't get any combinations off. Like,
yeah, and I think too that George, I won't say learned his lesson, but probably took on board the response from that first fight. And you could tell in that second fight he was a lot low key. He didn't have the flash suits on. We didn't have the belts to flash around anyway. But you know what I mean? Like, he didn't have the sunglasses on. He wasn't, I am the world champion sort of thing. And I think he got back to the eye of the tiger sort of mentality for the second fight. I know it wasn't enough, but I think he'd be at least content that he went out there and gave his all. And welcome Lewis, by the way, the Mexican, all the guys from Mexico, thank you. But you just saw a different George last time, and I know he didn't get the win, but I think a lot of Aussies respect him more by the way he carried himself in that second fight.
100%, mate. 100%. It was missing from the first fight, and you know what? Aussies are Aussies, mate. We still love our boxers. It's one thing I noticed with the States. If their boxer takes L, man, it's a career suicide. Like, that's the end of your career. But here, we don't judge a guy by the amount of times he gets knocked down. We judge him by how he bounces back, mate.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly right. We'll always give someone a go. Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, mate. American boxing's weird, mate. They're good people. I've got a lot of good American friends, but mate, they're proper hardcore. I thought I knew some crazy boxing fans, bro. But
well, as I said, mate, it's just the culture difference, isn't it? Because over there, it's almost like to get people behind you, you have to be the hot dog type of thing, and you have to be a bit controversial, a bit mouthy. And I just, like, fighters like, I must have been like a Charlo. I mean, I really admire them as fighters, but I can't warm to them by the way they just carry on with their shit. You know, and even Floyd Mayweather, I don't put in that category because he wasn't that, he was confident in himself. And he didn't really get into the bling bling type of thing. He was just Floyd Mayweather and had so much belief. So I don't think he's in that category. That's why we love guys like Mosley and De La Hoya and back in the day Tyson and Hagler and all those, because there's a difference between being confident, a really personality. But when you just, as we would say, being a wanker, it's very, very hard to warm to them.
Yeah, it is, mate. It is, and yet they rub you up the wrong way. You know, they with all the flashy with jewels, and I don't get them, man. They're not the long-term planning type guys. You know what I mean? Like, they're not investing in their future, like buying property and investing their money on a stock market or something. No, they're buying jewels. They're buying Lamborghinis.
Cars. Yep. Well, there you go,
mate.
You've got someone that's going for, can we sign Carl up for Tszyu security team, please? I reckon you'd happily do that, wouldn't you? Be over there and look after Tim.
Mate, I'm nursing some stitches and a bit of a shiner at the moment. But
yeah,
mate. Yeah,
around
mate.
the pub?
Yeah. I got a bit mouthy with the missus.
Okay.
No. Work injury. Shower screen smashed on me, mate. I'm a builder. I was putting a shower screen in and it smashed and split me open. And yeah, this is the result of it.
Bloody,
but hey, the missus story's better.
Yeah, it is, yeah. I'd maybe go with the pub story, but bloody crazy Queenslanders up there. Well, this is a good point. The man Mundine wasn't a humble Minnesota Mick, but he also wasn't well liked in Australia at all.
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't.
He had as many haters as he had followers, mate.
Probably more. And he was definitely one of those fighters that the Aussies, now, a lot of the race car was brought into it, but I don't think it ever had to do with race. It was because he was perceived, as I said again, as the wanker. You know, I know because Mundine's obviously Aboriginal, and he was that was a lot of the you don't like him because he's Aboriginal. It had nothing to do with that. It's because he was like an American type of fighter.
Hey, Lyndon, I think that's an easy way out to say that it was the race card thing, mate. But it had nothing to do with his race.
No,
his old man was an absolute champion.
Everyone loved
his old man
dad.
Was a legend.
Yep.
Oh, Tony was an absolute legend of the sport.
Yep.
No one had any hate for him. Look, blokes like Lionel Rose, mate.
Yep.
Won his title in '68 and defended the frigging thing twice in the same year.
Really good point, actually. Yeah, you're right. They were the two of the most loved Aussie boxers of all time. And Tony Mundine, if you don't know, fought Carlos Monzon for the world title back in the day, so didn't get the win. But obviously Lionel Rose got the win. But yeah, look, I'm with you, mate. It used to piss me off when it used to be about the race thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you know, but that was, I think, to generate a bit more. And Mick, back in the day too, it was Danny Green was his Superman to Batman type of thing, wasn't it? So, or the hero to villain.
Yeah, but mate, the Danny Green that fought Mundine, mate, was the shell of the Danny Green. Like he was weight trained. You know, like he wasn't the same Danny Green, mate.
Yeah.
Mundine made sure he didn't get the 100% on point Danny Green, mate, because Danny would have wiped the floor with him.
Yeah. See there, Minnesota Mick as well. Yeah, Cambosa's full on too. That's Noonan Boys guy. Yep, Nick will be on the Christmas show too, by the way. Minnesota Mick, which will be Tuesday of Christmas week. Yeah, so, but as I said before, Mick, Cambosa's lost a lot of Aussie fans in that first fight, or after the first fight, even leading up to the first fight.
Even leading up, mate.
And the second fight, he did redeem himself a fair bit. I think he got a lot on board. And that's why, Carl, I'll let you go soon, mate. But one thing, I commented earlier before about the Zerafa thing. Do you reckon Zerafa should have taken the same path for, you know, with his opportunity in Sydney, of just been humble and just let people have the say, just don't engage with them?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, he's got to learn to block out the noise, block out the hate.
He can't help himself.
I like Mick. I like him as a boxer, man. But like, once again, it depends on what version of Mick you get.
Yep.
And the version of Mick versus Creati or Creati, whatever it was.
Yeah.
That, mate, he just got that job done there, mate. And hats off to Creati, because, man, he gave him a hell of a fight. And Mick was on the back foot. He was on his bike, you know, like, and I thought Zerafa would do like he did that Isaac, mate. I thought he'd show that the level he's at.
Yep.
And, mate, to me, it sort of knocked him back a bit. It didn't help his chance. And, you know, mate, if Triple G's looking at that fight for March, because Eddie Hearn's talking about another big mega fight in Australia. He wants to sell out the Gabba. He loves his cricket. He loves the Gabba. He wants to get a big match up here in Queensland. I don't think Mick Zerafa's the guy for Triple G, mate.
No, I agree. Well, look, good luck to him if he gets the fight. That's all I'll say. You know, at least he wants the big guys, you know, and that's great. And I really hope he gets the fight and does really well and wins it and all the rest of it. But if he wants the Aussie fans behind him, and maybe I was going to say maybe he doesn't, but look, why wouldn't you want the Aussie fans behind you? And I thought with that video I've mentioned on here, they put the video out to maybe endear some Aussies, but I think it just had the reverse effect. I think it did. I think it just said, well, you know, I don't think it did anything but alienate even more people.
You know, mate, I think a lot of these blokes need me as their spokesperson for them.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I can get in there and I can talk smack, mate, but you know, I can tell them what they need to say, mate, because some of these guys, man, I could be the best PR man for them.
Yeah. Well, you're the person that they're trying to endear themselves to. You guys are the true blue Aussie, you know, fair income Aussie boxing fans. So they probably need a consultant like you.
Mate, I'm a nut. I'm a junkie. I'm a junkie, mate. I can't get enough of this shit. I'm on every chance I can be, mate. I get on these things.
I reckon we need to get a bit of a fun going to get you over to Vegas, mate. I reckon it'd be pretty fun over there. I'm not sure you behave yourself, though. It's the only, and if the missus did that to you, I'm not sure we could subject you to any more of that.
Mate, they call me Teflon. My nickname's Teflon, mate.
Nothing sticks?
Nothing sticks, brother.
Yeah, all good, mate. Hey, really appreciate you coming on, mate, and tuning into the show each week. And don't be a stranger. Make sure you come on every now and then. Anyone else that's out there would like to come on, the link's always there. So it'd be good to have you on, just like Carl, and we can have a chat and answer any questions. So thanks again, mate.
Hey, before I go, mate,
Yep, go ahead.
Before I go, mate, can I just ask you one thing?
Yep.
Hey, what do you think's next for Liam Paro? What do you think? Oh, mate, I'm chomping at the bit. I was all on the Brock Jarvis train. That got derailed. So Liam Paro proved that the level that Liam's at ain't where Brock's at. I thought Brock's power would convert to 140. I was wrong. He had a totally wrong game plan going in, arms flailing everywhere. And, mate, Liam caught him in 100 seconds. That game's over. What do you think's next?
Oh, look, it's a really good question, mate. I think I wouldn't be surprised if he has one more fight before fighting for the title. I think what they might do is maybe give him another tune-up fight. Might be in Australia again, and he'll fight. I think Taylor will win against Catterall, I think, and he'll go up, and I think he'll get a crack at a vacant title. Hey, who knows? Could be against Teofimo Lopez. How good would that be? But I think either way,
I'd love that.
I think he'll have a tune-up fight and fight for one of the vacant belts, I would think. I think even if Taylor loses, I think the belts might still fragment, I reckon. I don't think Catterall will get all the 4 belts. Just a hunch that something will happen and they'll vacate a few. Sometimes they need that to happen. If the belts are tied up too much, they need an opportunity, an excuse to separate them a little bit and get the division sort of going again, I think. And that's what I reckon might happen. Because you've got guys like Paro and Ryan Garcia and all those types of guys, Lopez sort of coming through. They all want world title shots and you can't fight them all. So it's a good opportunity to spill the belts and give all those, have some really good fights for the vacant titles. But I think one more fight, mate, and then you'll see him fight for the belt.
Righto, mate. Hey, and I just want to give a big shout out to Shannon, mate. I hope you knocked that Ebony. I hope you knocked the stuffing out of her.
Sure should be watching, mate. Good stuff.
Good on you, mate. Have a good one, Lyndon. I'll be tuning in, brother.
No worries, mate. Thanks, Carl.
All right. See you, mate.
Great to have Carl on the show. So, yeah, and you're right, James. Really good stuff. And as I said, guys, if you ever want to come on, probably running out of time now for another one, but it's good just, as you see there, it's good that we had Skinny, obviously, earlier, and Taszyu, of course, and now Carl. So really good to break it up a little bit with some feedback from you guys. Jay, what's the question there, mate? I only hope that Zerafa gets Triple G's. His Triple G said he wants to fight in Australia before he retires. Okay, I didn't know that, Jay. Did he say that? All right, well, that's probably makes sense. It's a matter of whether the money can be generated. And I would have said no, except for the fact that Dean Lonergan did it and Duco did it back in 2017 when they got, I think Pacquiao got 10 million for fight Jeff Horn, and they were able to generate it. The Queensland government threw in a shitload of cash, and I know a shitload of sponsors. Would they do it for a Triple G? I'm not sure whether the same money would be there. So, but maybe Triple G only needs half of that, or maybe not even that. Maybe he only needs 3 or 4 million to come. So maybe, and look, the thing is, with Zerafa being at no limit, there is that really good possibility they could generate that amount of money. They've got a lot of money from Fox and other sponsors and all that involved now. They've done the yards. They've got a really good following. So, yeah, maybe they can generate the money, but we'll see. Ross, Lyndon, I think Carl would fit over in Vegas, MGM Food Court, talking boxing for hours with you and Unca. Yeah, now we don't know, guys. Ross came with myself and Unca. I'm not sure whether Unca's watching. It is his birthday, by the way, so happy birthday, Uncle Ronnie Picken. Great mate of mine. He's coming to the Zoo and Charlo fight with me in January, so that will be cool. Can't wait for that. Yeah, but would he fit in? He probably would, mate. He'd definitely be a side over there, wouldn't he? I think it'd be great. But yeah, we went over there and we. Do you remember Ross? We actually ran into Jeff Horn of all people in the food court, if you can remember. And as we're sitting there having a chat, eating dinner, we look over and there's Jeff Horn having some dinner with his lovely wife. So that's what can happen in Vegas. But yeah, geez, we talked some boxing over there, didn't we? And do any of you guys again are thinking of going over there for the fight in Vegas? Make sure if you can get there, get there. I know it's a lot of time, a lot of money, all the rest of it. But, you know, to get over there with all the other Aussies and just be in boxing heaven for a week or so, you can't get any better than that. Carl, thanks for having my buffet on there. Got a great face for radio. It was great to have you on, Carl. Really appreciate that, mate. And yeah, you're probably right. You have got a head for the radio, but that's all good. I'm the same, so don't stress about that. But, mate, anytime you want to come on, I know you put plenty of comments in there, so that's even better. But if you can come on, that'd be cool too. So, guys, let's get on some other stuff before we go. We won't go too late tonight. As I said, we've got Ebony Bridges, Shannon O'Connell in just under 2 weeks' time. Can't wait for that one. Shannon's obviously over in England, at the moment. So all the best to both girls. Just want a really good fight. Obviously, I'm team shotgun, but Ebony's still an Aussie. We just want a really good fight. Both girls to be safe and punch on, and let's have a ripper fight. And hopefully, Shannon can bring the belt home to Australia. James, just want to say before you go, really appreciate the love and dedication you put into this channel with all 4 shows each week. Thanks, mate. Really appreciate it, and you're a great guy and smart boxer. Hey, thanks, James. Good to get a compliment every now and then. Just saying it how we see it, mate. That's all. We don't pretend to. Well, some of us might. We're not all, super geniuses with boxing. But we are well researched, or we try and be, and we just say it how it is. But these shows wouldn't exist without you guys out there, and they're growing all the time. So, really appreciate that, mate. Ross, yep. Remember, Jeff was happy for a quick chat. A very quick chat, I think it was. If you remember, Ross, he was having, I don't think he was eating, was it? I think his wife was having a pizza, and he was sitting there wishing he could have pizza because it was in the lead up to the fight. And you remember he missed weight the first time. So, but look, even if he was a little bit uncomfortable, he was just the Jeff Horn you see on TV, so humble, so respectful, shook our hand, had a chat. We obviously didn't keep him too long because fight week, his head would have been doing this, but he was a great guy. And we went to his last workout in Vegas at Kevin Barry's gym in Las Vegas. There, it was great to be in that last session with him and have a chat with him and seeing what was going on. And look, they couldn't be any better. Carl's got Shannon by stoppage. I'm going to go with Shannon on points, I reckon, Carl. I think Ebony might be a little bit more durable than what we think. I think she's not going to give up that belt. I think Shannon could literally punch holes in her, I will say. But I think Ebony's a tough girl. She's improved a hell of a lot. I think she's going to not want to give up that belt without a hell of a fight. And I think Shannon wins by decision. However, if it goes to the points, will she get the decision? I know the 2 Aussies, but you may as well say Ebony's a pom over there. Does she get the win? I'm worried. But let's hope she wins definitively enough that it's taken out of the equation anyway. I forgot to ask what's next for Joel Taylor. Yeah, we went sort of over that a little bit earlier, Carl. Not a lot, I wouldn't have thought. I think he might have another 3 or 4 fights against fighters of his sort of more experience level. Not a lot. We did go through it before that maybe I think Jason Marley might be someone down the track. Could be a really good fight. There's, of course, Ben Horn and a couple of others. But I would like to see him have 3 or 4 fights just at the national level against similar type of opponents. And then maybe try for regional after that. But I like the fact he's put all his emphasis on the regional, the Aussie belt, not the regional. And maybe after 3 or 4 fights, as I said, they'll see whether he's ready to go to that international level because it's a big step. Louis, again, thanks for, tuning in from, was it California? You are Mexican, are you, Lewis? But you're from California, I think I saw before. Shout out from a truck driver. I'm California. Mate, awesome. I'll be over in your neck of the woods next week, Lewis, in California. So actually heading to Boston and then over to California to finish up. And again, we'll be over there in late January for Tim Zhu's fight. So can't wait to get over there, Lewis. So, and I know you guys are very, very passionate fans there. So full respect to the American boxing fans / Mexican fans. I think the Mexican fans are probably the most hardcore fans you'll get in boxing, to be honest. And James, Tim arrives at LA Airport in a few hours. All right, so he's on the plane now, of course. Yes, he'll be there. So as I said before, guys, 4 weeks in LA, 4 weeks in Vegas, and hopefully I'll get to see him in LA before he departs for Vegas, even though we will see him there, of course. The other ones, guys, as I said, Lucas Brown, Manuel Char, Dubai, December 17th. Really wrapped for Big Daddy that he gets that opportunity against Char. He's been knocked from pillar to post in the last few years, Lucas Brown. He just wants to fight these guys, and for one reason or another, things have fallen over. I'm glad he gets that opportunity. If he wins that, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets another title shot of some description. Great content usual, Lyndon. I've been showing the shit out of your channel, mate. Thanks, mate. I appreciate it. Look, we're almost at 500. It's been a bit of a slow build, I will say. But look, end of the day, we haven't got a massive viewership, but they're a very dedicated viewership, and they always send me lots of messages and all that sort of stuff, and obviously people tuning in. So no, I appreciate everyone we get. The other one, of course, John Ryder on the weekend had the 4-round technical decision over Zach Parker, so he'll be next for Canelo, you would think, in May in England. Makes all the sense in the world. Dillian White with some say controversial decision over Jermaine Franklin. I thought he just won by a round or two. The official scores are 116, 112 times 2, so 8 rounds to 4, 115, 115. Hey, James, very, very good point. What happened to Brown and Goodall? That is a very good question. Does anyone know what happened to that? Because that was there. That was all the go. I've got a feeling. The only thing I can think of, James, is that was set in stone, and then he's been offered this fight in Dubai, so of course he's going to take that. Sometimes in the contracts, there is a thing in there, if they get offered a fight at a certain level, they're allowed to break the contract. And this being maybe for a world title eliminator, maybe that was it. But yeah, that's a really good point. What that was supposed to be not on BoxRec anymore either, I don't think. When was it? I'll just have a quick look on BoxRec. See what we can get. No, that's Tim. All right, so nothing on BoxRec about it. Okay, so just trying to look there. No, guys, nothing on BoxRec, so it must have been taken off. But that's a really good question. JC, yo, thanks for joining in, mate. Appreciate it. Almost finishing up. And Lewis, rooting. Yep, well, rooting means a little bit different down here, Lewis, but we understand what you're getting at there, mate. So we appreciate that. The other one, guys, before we go, just a couple of quick things. One, Francisco Estrada, Chocolatito Gonzalez 3. Can't wait for this one. December 3 in Glendale, Arizona. Should be a ripper. I'm backing Gonzalez to win that one. I think he should have got the last fight, even though it was close. But I'm hoping Chocolatito wins that one. Chris Eubank Jr., Liam Smith, January 21st, 2023 in Manchester, England. So that will be a good one. If you don't know, check out my videos from Vegas. I was over there for Triple G and Canelo a couple of months ago. I played poker with Liam Smith, just happened to be across the table from him. And really, really good guy. He actually took all my chips. He took my money and I was forced to leave the table. I went all in. He went all in and cleaned me out, so I was out of there. But a really nice guy, I will say. So, yeah, he's fighting Chris Eubank Jr. in Manchester, England on January 21st. There is talk that Joshua and Dillian White could be next. I really don't want to see that one. This is Anthony Joshua. What do you guys think about that one? Parker took step aside money during the fight. Who was that, JC? Just clarify that. Not quite sure who you're talking about there. Oh, Beefy. Okay. Yep. Okay. He took step aside money. James, great to hear, Lewis. I've heard a few Americans say that too. Not many though. Yep, that is as far as rooting for him. What else we got there? James Gorman, that was meant to be the 9th, so next week. Okay, yeah. Well, that's what I reckon's happened, James. I reckon there has been a clause in the contract that says if a bigger fight comes along, he's allowed to take it internationally. So maybe that's what's happened. Lewis, again, says a lot of Americans don't appreciate good fighters. I don't care where they're from in the world as long as they do what they need to do. Yeah, mate, you probably got a good point there because I think over there, if you're probably the best one to judge, of course. If you've got the big following on social media and you've got all the razzmatazz and you've got all the all the bling or whatever you want to call it, you tend to get a bit more opportunity. I'm with you, Lewis. I love fighters that just fight. I would rather, look, any day, I've got the Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia thing. Look, I like Ryan Garcia, but I hate all the shit that goes on with all the Instagram crap. I like Tank Davis because he's just a fighter's fighter. Yes, I know he talks a little bit of smack, but he gets in there and he just gets the job done. Doesn't give a shit about followers and all that views and all that sort of crap. He just wants to fight. So I like those types of guys. And that's what I said before, mate. That's what Aussies are like. We just like, the blue collar, I think you'd call them, the blue collar fighters rather than the white collar. I think I've got that the right way around. Team Chocolatito on this one. I'm with you, mate. Love Chocolatito. I think he's a great fighter and hope he gets the job done this time. AJ versus Wilder, still a big money fight. Yeah, it is. Geez, who wins that one? I think Wilder could knock him out. Now, if you've heard me on this show before, I'm not a big rat for Wilder at all. I think he's probably the least talented heavyweight champion in history. However, the guy's got this, and that's all he needs. And against AJ, that has been chinny. Maybe that could be it. That would be a good fight. That's probably is it bigger than Usyk and Fury? Definitely, I think AJ and Fury is obviously still the biggest fight out there, but is this the second biggest? Because I would much prefer to see AJ and Wilder fight rather than Usyk and Fury. That's just me. What do you guys think? Shout out to Franklin for giving it to White. Yep, Jay Brown. Yeah, as I said, I think he did good, Jay. I just still think White didn't look impressive at all, by the way. I just think he'd just done enough to get the decision. Maybe 7 rounds to 5. Mate, it's cool to share your content on my channel. Of course it is, Carl. Whether it's my content or anyone else's, just share it. Let's go. All right, and just I think that's. Oh, and there's also talk. I did see today that you obviously got a Haney Lomachenko in 2023 in the first quarter. They are talking maybe Teofimo Lopez after that. And what a great fight that would be, Haney and Lopez. So you got to sort of give it to Haney. He wants Lomachenko and then he wants Lopez. That's a good champion. That's where I would have hoped that the Charlos would be. Especially Jamal, not Jamal, the one fighting Tim, the other one, the middleweight one. That's what you would expect to him. Let's just say, let's get the Munguias and let's get the Andrade and let's get the Triple Gs and these types of guys, Laras. Let's bring them on. But no, he wants to move up and fight Bivol because that's the money fight. That's probably not a bad one, but all these other guys that he's fought in the past, it just, I don't know. That's why I've got a lot of respect for, if that is the case for Haney, who just wants the big fights. Just got a message coming through there. Guys, look, I think that's going to be about it for tonight. We've gone our 2 hours, which is probably about where I like to go. Just a heads up that this is the last Talking Boxing for the year. I'm off on Thursday, so I won't be around. But as I said, there will be a show, a sort of a Talking Boxing deep dive hybrid sort of thing, Christmas special on Tuesday. I'm just trying to think what date it will be. Let's have a look at my calendar. It will be Tuesday, the 20th of December. So Tuesday, the 20th of December is our Christmas show. I'll have Tassie. I'll try and get Peter and Nick Noonan on as well. And we'll go through a little bit of a review of 2022 and a look ahead to 2023, what we want to see, some fights we'd like to see, some maybe some crystal ball predictions that might happen. And of course, you guys are more than welcome to join in the conversation. We'll see how we go with 3 or 4 of us on here at the one time with the stream. Hopefully it's been okay tonight. I don't think I've had any issues. But so that will be June the 20th. All right, guys. So again, really appreciate everyone that tuned in tonight. I hope you enjoyed the chat with Skinny. Thanks for Carl for coming on the show. And all you guys out there, again, really appreciate your comments. And we'll see you on the 20th for the Christmas special.